Chapter 221. In the courtyard. The cool wind blows, and the newly planted bamboo bushes sway and rustle with the wind. Under the bamboo bushes, a figure sat cross-legged quietly. Wearing a loose white exercise suit, Will sat cross-legged quietly under the bamboo bushes with his eyes closed. Breathing in and out, a weak cyclone hovered in his nose. His breathing was very slow, and it took tens of seconds to complete a breathing cycle. If you have the ability to see through and observe the inside of Will's body carefully, you will find that it is not as simple as slow breathing. The frequency of the heartbeat, the flow rate of the blood, the peristalsis of the muscles, etc., are all extremely slow. 3 times slower than normal. What is slow is not only the appearance and the internal structure of the body, but even the tissue cells of the body. The speed of operation has also slowed down a little. After 2 years of hard work, Will has been able to slightly affect his own cells. This is also thanks to the inhalation method. Internal suction method is a method of cell level. It can absorb the vitality of other creatures through physical touch, or even through the air. It's just that Will's internal absorption method is different from the original internal absorption method. The life coherence and inward absorption methods are all developed by Will through self-learning, accumulating knowledge, deriving and upgrading, which are a bit different from the original skills. For example, life coherence can control and harmonize vitality, and can be used as a life radar to detect the surrounding vitality. With his current strength, the range of the life radar should be 500 meters. But because his life coherence is not orthodox, it is learned and upgraded by himself, so the range of the 5th level life coherence is only 300 meters. How much is the range only genuine? 3 out of 5? 9/25? No. Life radar is able to explore all life forces up, down, left, and right. Therefore, the exploration range of his modified version is only about 1/5 of the original. So what he comprehended was worse than the original? Not really. His life is coherent, and he has the ability to read minds. With a large-scale investigation, in addition to exploring the vitality around him, he could also perceive the emotions of other creatures, and read the thoughts of creatures whose mental power was far weaker than his. The same is true for inhalation. He didn't know what the specific effect of the original internal absorption method would be after it was upgraded to level 5. But his 5-level inhalation method made the body's digestion ability extremely strong. He digests food, food doesn't need to reach the stomach at all. As long as it is in his body, it can be digested in his mouth. After 2 years of digging, the application of inhalation method has taken another step forward. In the future, food may not need to be eaten at all, and it can be digested by touching the skin. Influence, understanding, and control are often integrated. Inhalation method can directly act on cells. It made his understanding of cells deepened, and he was able to control cells a little bit. Speed mode. The reason why the acceleration mode is so heavy is that it can only accelerate superficial things such as muscles, blood vessels, and thinking, but cannot accelerate cells. Of course, it still can't be done now. But the acceleration mode has been strengthened again, that's for sure. Now, he can not only control the acceleration of the body, but also the deceleration of the body. It is much easier and less burdensome to make the body slow than to make the body fast. The movement of the body can be slowed down by up to 12 times. Will's body functioned at a speed 12 times slower than that of ordinary people, but his brain used thinking acceleration to make his thinking extremely fast and active. In this case, every beat of the heart, every twitch of the muscle, the speed of blood transport, as if slowed down by dozens or hundreds of times, the movement of the body turned into a slow motion one by one. In his mind, a 3D human body of himself was analyzed layer by layer. From the fluff on the body surface to the bone marrow in the bones, every subtle change is perfectly presented. As if dissecting every muscle fiber of the body with a knife, it is still changing in real time. His understanding of his body is beyond imagination. Will constantly adjusts his body to keep it in the most perfect state. After that, start to accelerate. The body is taxed, overloading the body until various parts of the body fail. Deceleration improved. Speed up again. After a problem occurs, it slows down and improves. In this way, Will's body cycled between acceleration and deceleration. When accelerating, explore the limits of the body, put the body in a state of limit operation, and expose the weak links that damage the body. Moisture rises, refines, and repairs the body while slowing down. Boom boom boom. The body accelerated again. The acceleration this time is much faster than before, a full 3 times the acceleration. The body's capillaries couldn't bear it anymore and began to break down. Muscle fibers are stretched. The internal organs squirmed too fast, and there were bursts of tingling pain. Is the limit triple speed? Control the body, let the body calm down slowly, and get out of the acceleration mode. In a static state, I can accelerate up to 3 times, but fighting is different from standing still. In combat, I can only accelerate up to 1.8 times. 1.8 times is not bad. 10 seconds, 1.8 times the speed, in the apprenticeship realm, no one can beat it. It's just speed. In the acceleration mode, the speed is explosively improved, but there are major defects such as too short a time, too heavy a burden, and too much consumption, as well as minor defects such as reduced attack and defense. It is a finale skill that must not be used until the critical moment. In the case of not using the acceleration mode and only using magic skills and martial skills to fight, his combat power is only equivalent to the second level of a third-class apprentice. It's impossible to use the acceleration mode every time you encounter a strong enemy, right? It is necessary to create a mode that is more stable than the accelerated mode, consumes less, lasts for a long time, has low side effects, and can be used frequently. He has already reached the peak of the second-class apprentice, and his hard power can no longer be one step closer. However, hard power and combat effectiveness are completely different things. Hard power only considers hard indicators such as strength, speed, defense, vitality, magic power, spiritual power, etc. And the combat power, especially after possessing powerful magic skills and martial skills, is likely to increase by leaps and bounds. So in the past 2 years, in addition to spending time on researching life-improving medicines, most of his time was spent on researching and developing new models. Huang Tian paid off, and he did successfully develop it. My physical fitness has reached an extreme. No matter how I practice, I can only maintain it at the peak and cannot go any further. But the combat power is not necessarily. The highest combat power 2 years ago was an acceleration of 1.5 times in 10 seconds. The current highest combat power is an acceleration of 1.8 times in 10 seconds. Don't underestimate the extra 0.3 times. In fact, both sides are in acceleration mode, and the current him can instantly kill him 2 years ago. This is the horror of speed. This is not to say that his combat effectiveness is much higher. For speed-type battles, if you have the same skills and experience, you can often have a huge advantage if you are faster. So even though he could easily defeat his previous self. But when encountering Franlo, who has a magic weapon, without using the magic seal, he still may not be able to win. Chapter 222. Using the acceleration mode and not using it, the strength span between the two is too large, and there is no transition in the middle. This problem is very serious. It's one of his biggest flaws. Under normal conditions, his strength is only comparable to that of a general third-class apprentice and second-order apprentice. After acceleration mode, it's not that Will is boasting. Regardless of the magic weapon, according to his known information, there is only one third-class apprentice who can hold him down. Bloom. Integrating 5 bloodlines, possessing 5 kinds of bloodline abilities, and awakening 5 kinds of bloodline talents, the combat power is really extraordinary. It is rumored that Bloom's combat power can surpass the formal wizard who has just advanced 2 moves. But Will and Bloom are different. Will is the second of the third-class apprentices only when he uses the accelerated mode. If someone knows my strength, when dealing with me, they only need to send third-class apprentices with third-level strength to assassinate me. Or set up a trap where second-class apprentices must die, forcing me to use the acceleration mode, and wait for my physical strength and mana to be greatly consumed after that. You can easily kill me. Assassination is impossible. No matter how strong a person is, he may be assassinated by someone far weaker than him. The problem is the latter. It was originally a trap to deal with second-class apprentices, but Will had to use the acceleration mode to avoid it. This is the disadvantage of no transition in strength. If there are several modes, one corresponds to the second level of the third-class apprentice, one corresponds to the third level, and one corresponds to the fourth level. The energy consumption increases step by step, and the duration decreases step by step. What situation is encountered and what mode is used? That would be nice. It's not that easy. Before, it was hard to come up with the acceleration mode, and there was some luck in it. After returning from the Green Essence Kingdom, it took another 2 years to develop a new model. Will closed his eyes, focused and adjusted his body. The body began to crackle. The muscles bulge, the body grows taller, and the size increases. In just 3 seconds, Will turned into a burly man with a height of 1.9 meters. The originally loose white exercise room was propped up, and the muscles were tightly strangled. The face has also undergone major changes, and only Will's shadow can be vaguely seen. Except for the faint white light that surrounds his body, he looks no different from an ordinary strong man in appearance, as if there were 2 people before. This is a new model developed by Will 2 years ago. The consumption is extremely small. With Will's current life force, the new mode can be used continuously for an hour without any problem. The body shape does not change much, and the body will not be accompanied by severe pain. Can enhance strength, speed, defense, etc. The effect is similar to the previous burst mode, only the boost is much weaker. Looks like a weaker version of burst mode. Actually not. Because the new mode is compatible with night martial arts. It has a good increase in physical fitness. After using the night martial arts, the strength, speed, and defense can all be greatly improved, and the combat effectiveness is far above the burst mode. Consumption is less. Long duration. The burden on the body is small, too. Unlike burst mode and acceleration mode, which have major flaws, it is a perfect mode. Because when this mode is used, the body will be covered with a layer of faint white light, like a veil of light. So we'll name the new mode Shine Mode. In 2 years, because he knew that the realm of wizards could not be further improved. In addition to spending most of his time on the research and development of the Shining Mode, Will also worked hard on night training. All the breathing methods in the world are up to the Paladin, and there is no further training method. What should I do after reaching Paladin? How should we practice? How to become stronger? What realm exists after the Paladin? Every realm has its beginner, middle, advanced, and pinnacle points, so must the Paladins also have them? What is the difference in strength between each tier? 1 question and 3 questions. This is also impossible. Paladins are so rare that only one appears in hundreds of years. They are often only seedlings, and there is no other Paladin to study and discuss with them to make progress together. Moreover, Paladins are not like wizards. Although they can be healthy and live a long life, their life expectancy is still in the ranks of ordinary people. When I became a Paladin, I was 70 or 80 years old. Even if I can maintain my peak for 20 years and maintain the highest combat effectiveness at the age of 90, it's useless. It is too difficult to develop a Paladin's cultivation technique from scratch. There was no one else to communicate with. The night system is too weak. It is extremely difficult to become a Paladin. It takes hundreds of years to produce one, and the combat power is really not flattering. In the wizarding world, there are a lot of Paladins in combat strength, and there are not a few who beat Paladins. It is not good to meet green spirits. 3 years ago when Will rescued Princess Corinne, a Paladin without bloodline ability would surely die if he went. Originally, the strength of a Paladin is comparable to that of a second-class apprentice. But at that time, it was because all the Paladins in history were at the initial stage of Paladins. In Kava City, Will learned all the breathing methods he could find. No matter how high or low it is, he raised all the breathing methods to the 5th level, and integrated them into one furnace, constantly perfecting the turtle source flow breathing method. It is no exaggeration to call Kame-Yuan Ryu breathing method the strongest breathing method ever. And Will himself, the realm of nights has also been broken through. Now, I can probably be considered an intermediate Paladin? Because there is no reference, Will is not very sure. When the flash mode is released, the body returns to its original shape. Picking up a stone with his left hand, he exerted his strength slowly, and the stone turned into powder in his hand. Pick up the iron ball prepared in advance by your feet. The iron ball needed by both hands, the iron ball is like ooze, constantly deforming in Will's hands. Outsiders saw it and thought they were playing with mud. Holding iron like mud, is this the situation you are talking about? Crush the stone and grind it into powder. Knead the iron block like mud. For Will, who has the top strength of a 3rd-class apprentice, and his physical fitness is far from the average 3rd-class apprentice, it is not difficult. The trouble is, Will doesn't seem to be using his life force. No muscle bursts either. Without stimulating vitality, without using night martial arts, and without overloading muscles, his strength is no more than 20,000 to 30,000 kilograms at most. What's more, he didn't try his best just now. With only tens of thousands of kilograms of strength, you want to knead the iron block like mud? Impossible. Will couldn't do it. It's impossible for anyone else to do it either. It's not a question of skill, it's pure power. There are two types of skills, one is routine and the other is force. For living creatures, routines work well. As for dead objects, it can only use force skills. Unfortunately, there are some things that you can't reach. If you can't do it, you can't do it, and you can never cross it for now. It's like this. So just now, Will just didn't seem to use his vitality. Chapter 223. The Knight's Training System. The levels are divided into Reserve Knight, Quasi-Knight, Knight, Grand Knight, and Paladin. The main difference between different levels lies in the control of vitality. Quasi-Knight, a certain part of the body can temporarily stimulate vitality. Knight, can stimulate the vitality of the whole body. A great knight can condense vitality on the body surface to form a radiant armor. A paladin who can perceive the vitality of other creatures and transmit it through touch. The amount of vitality has nothing to do with the level. Some people are born with strong physiques. Even if they don't practice breathing techniques, they are just ordinary people with much more vitality than some great knights. Some people practice physical exercise. A strong physique does not stimulate vitality, but the amount of vitality is much more than that of knights of the same rank. Will, he actually used a higher level vitality utilization technique just now. When using vitality in the past, the body would emit white light. This is a sign that the physical body has been strengthened. Whether it's the fingers emitting white light, or the thighs, or the whole body, the essence is the same. It's all about strengthening that part in an all-round way. Bones, muscles, blood vessels, tendons, all the parts emitting white light are strengthened. Obviously, there are many places where it is not necessary. It has nothing to do with combat power, it is unnecessary, and it is a waste of vitality. Everyone knows that good steel is used on the blade. But it is too difficult to do. Will has only recently reached this level. I only need to strengthen the tendons and bones of the body where the strength is exerted. The extra muscles and skin do not need to use vitality at all. Doing so will slightly reduce attack and defense. But the consumption of vitality is greatly reduced. The utilization efficiency has been greatly improved. With 10% of the consumption, 100% of the power is exerted, and with 10% of the consumption, 90% of the power is exerted. Which one to choose? No need to think about it at all. If someone has the ability to see through, they will find that the bones and veins in Will's seemingly ordinary hands are condensed with a white life force that is as solid as it is. A seemingly ordinary blow actually contains powerful power. Is this the so-called return to basics? Rumors about the subtlety of martial arts, returning to the basics, probably refer to this situation. Will didn't understand it very well, after all, no one taught him. There is also no reference object. I can only explore slowly by myself. Afterwards, Will attunes to the life force and magic within himself. Wisps of white mist floated out from the surface of the skin and spread around. The white mist was less than 2 meters away from his body surface, and gradually dissipated, as if it had never existed. This situation lasted for 3 minutes. Will sighed and ended the release of the white mist. It's still a bit difficult to create a magic skill by yourself. What he just used was the magic skill White Curtain. A magical technique inspired by the Fog of War and the Shady Magic technique. It was a finished product 2 years ago, and it is still a semi-finished product 2 years later. The range is not as large as the Fog of War, and the effect is not as good as the black screen. It takes a long time to prepare, and it needs the help of external moisture. The white fog created dissipates quickly, and there are still too many defects. Other things are okay to say, the key is that it needs a lot of water, which hurts. The first time I used it, because of the storm bonus, there was water everywhere. The second use is to hide in the ground, prepare a large amount of water in advance, and transport the created magic mist to the surroundings through pipes. It is almost useless in frontal combat, and it is not very useful to assassinate small targets. It is only slightly useful in large-scale massacres. It's just that there are too few opportunities to use it. If you can do it like Franro, throw a magic ball into the sky. Creates a magical coverage area. Or like the ancient war tree, the fog of war drifts from the whole body, and the fog can cover several kilometers in all directions, and it will not disperse all year round. Only magic skills can be considered successful creation. The magic skills I know now only have one life synchronization, and the accumulation is still too little. Like breathing method and health regimen, he can write one casually. Forging methods can also be adjusted from person to person. Night martial arts can also be combined and created. Read more than 10,000 volumes, write like a god, and read 300 Tang poems. Even if you can't write poems, you can chant. Like spiritual skills, he knows more, but he still can't create spiritual skills according to his own needs. Not to mention magic skills? When I go back and learn 17 or 8 spiritual skills and magic skills, I think it will be much better. It's not too long before he goes back. In less than a month, his 3-year term in the resident will be up. You can go back to school. He had waited too long for this day. Before that, let's get the finishing touches done. I got up and stretched. I picked up a juicy bamboo shoot, grabbed a handful of bamboo leaves, and chopped a section of fresh bamboo. Ka ka ka. Bamboo is really delicious. After eating for 2 years, Will's love for bamboo has not only not diminished, but has also grown deeper. I'm not a quirk, nor do I like to eat bamboo, it's just homesickness. Homesickness, everyone will have. I like to eat some bamboo when I'm homesick, isn't it normal? After eating a snack, get up and leave the courtyard. In the hall, Tessa and Kylan had been waiting for a long time. Tessa has wheat-colored healthy skin, and her waist-length curly hair is casually scattered behind her. There is a smile on the corner of the mouth. Just like bamboo. Is bamboo delicious? No. The taste is slightly better than weed, and far from well-cooked food and wine. But because of his homesickness, he still ate with relish. Master Will, we have been waiting for you for 5 days. Kylan took 2 steps forward, blocking Tessa behind her. Tessa covered her mouth and smiled, not caring about Kylan's small movements. It took a little time to practice. Whether it is cultivation or refining medicine, it is very normal for a few days at a time. The stronger the strength, the more time it takes. After he becomes an official wizard, it may take a few months or a few years to retreat. Others, especially ordinary people, can be very uncomfortable. But for Will, the pursuit of strength is the first priority now. What do other people think? Thought you were Naya? The relationship between him and Kylan has indeed improved a lot and has developed greatly, and they have lived together for more than a year. But his feelings for Kylan, what should I say, ordinary? Chapter 224. In love, Will considers himself a very narrow person. He cannot love 2 people, 3 people, 5 people at the same time, 3,000 people in the harem. Unable to equally distribute love to multiple women, his love can only accommodate one person, and that is Naya. Other women, with feelings, would like, but definitely not love. In the past, I would accept other women, one is because of the most pursuit of beautiful things, and the other is because of physical desire. I used to be too young. Although I understand what's going on. The thoughts in my heart are also correct. Want to do the same. But what can he do when a beautiful woman throws herself into his arms and delivers newspapers, and expresses his love for a beautiful woman? He said all the thoughts in his heart, he doesn't love her, he just likes her in general, she doesn't mind, what else can he do? It seems that the road to equality, freedom and democracy still has a long way to go. Will also despises his own depravity and compromise. When I was young and ignorant, I was poisoned by the feudal system, and my lust got into my head. I just accepted a bunch of beauties. Now that I am mature and sensible, I still do this. Can it only be attributed to my inferiority? People are constantly improving. The transformation of the world also comes step by step. I will grow, the people are making progress, and the world is improving, isn't it good? Will stared at Kylan purely. He will not let Kylan down, he will give Kylan happiness, and he will treat Kylan as well as possible. There was nothing more he could do for Kylan. Master Will, the latest improvement of the life potion has been released, and it is preparing for human trials. You are invited to participate. This is the list. Kylan said with a straight face. Colleagues and private affairs, Kylan is still very clear. The perfect switch between the coldness of work and the tenderness in bed is its basic skill. Leave the house and get into the carriage. On the left and right, 2 beauties cling to him. But his attention was entirely on the information in his hands. The information stated the improvement of the life medicine, the data of the previous experiment, the prediction of the result, the effect of the animal experiment, and the details of a total of 30 human experimenters. Browse carefully. Will took it seriously. He now possesses the ability to have a near photographic memory, and his thinking speed is dozens of times faster than that of ordinary people. In addition to the improvement process of life medicine, he has been paying close attention to and participating in it, and is very clear about the details and development. So there is a thick stack of information, but it takes only a few minutes to read it. Will twitched his hands, but was hugged even tighter. Karin and Tessa seemed to be in a competition, hugging Will and glaring at each other. Tessa was relaxed, smiling, and eyeing Kaylin defiantly. Kaylin's face was as deep as water, and there were sparks hidden in the depths of her eyes. Smelling the fragrance of the two women, feeling the touch of his hands, and aware of the contest between the two women, Will secretly sighed in his heart. I have nothing to do with Tessa at all. Kaylin is getting angry with her, isn't it a waste of energy? Tessa has a good-looking appearance, a hot figure, and a wild beauty that makes people want to conquer. As long as he is a man, he will not be indifferent to Tessa. And Tessa is only dedicated to Will. Better than Kaylin, but nothing worse. But Will can accept Kaylin, but can't accept Tessa. Not to mention sharing a little love. The reason is that Tessa's lifestyle is too messy. It was the same when I was in college. There are many beauties in the college, and there are many women who throw themselves into his arms, but apart from Sarah, the reason why he didn't have any relationship with any other women is also because of this. For the past 2 years, Will has been teaching Tessa. Want to reform Tessa ideologically. Turn Tessa into a good public servant of the people who is self-love, self-improvement, freedom and democracy, and dedication to the people. Unfortunately, the effect is not very good. It is true that Tessa is no longer as reckless as before, and has tried her best to help the soldiers and civilians in Kawa City, but she feels that everything she does is for him to see, and it is all for the magic stone and profit. To get his help and approval. And not out of love for the people. I've spent 2 years now, and I can't even reform one person's mind. How can I reform tens of thousands of people in the future? Those people may become more feudal, more ignorant, and their servility is deeply buried in their hearts. Thoughts and actions really shouldn't be confused. In the previous life, the two great mentors who wrote and sorted out theoretical books that guided the direction of human progress. Isn't the practical ability not good? At least the practical ability is far from being compared with those who use the theory to build a country in practice. Am I a theoretical talent? Also become a mentor? But I'm not such a powerful figure as my mentor after all, so in the future, I will most likely be regarded as a delusional and dreamer, and appear as a negative example? But he will never be satisfied with this. He wants to see equality, liberty, democracy coming. He wanted to watch the realization of communism. I may have to practice my eloquence a little bit, at least to the point where I can persuade people, enter philosophy into my brain, and transform my mind. Over the past 2 years, he and Tessa have had a lot of contact. Taught Tessa a lot. Under Will's guidance, Tessa's intermediate body training method has improved extremely fast, almost equivalent to the level of the third-level body training method. It is not difficult to reach the peak of the second-class apprentice at the end of the resident mission. In addition to the intermediate exercise method, Will also taught Tessa mental skills. Mental skills are actually not that difficult. It's just a collection of countless techniques for using mental power, and each mental skill is equivalent to a XXX from entry to mastery. Just learn step by step, from easy to difficult, step by step. It's a pity that the order of difficulty in the skill memory crystal is messed up. It is impossible for those who are not talented enough to learn it without spending a lot of magic stones. As for Tessa, who was sent to the resident, her talent is definitely not good, and there can't be many magic stones, so she has no chance to learn spiritual skills. But with Will teaching it is different. Will took one step at a time and taught Tessa little by little spiritual skills. In the past 2 years, Tessa has learned about 90% of her mental skill clarity technique, and her control over her mental power has been greatly improved. 1 year later, when Tessa returns to the academy, she should be able to become a third-class apprentice immediately. Same as Will. Such a pity. Tessa's performance really disappointed Will. It is not a question of strength, nor is it a question of learning progress. Is her mind? After I leave, can she still be like this? Can she educate the next wizard apprentice who arrives? Give advice and help others? I see, Xian. Tessa was close to him, and listened to him. It's not that he was infected by his spirit, convinced by his thoughts, and decided to learn from him how to serve the people. but for the benefit. Are all people so superficial? Hope not. Sigh again. It took 2 years to get along day and night, but I couldn't change even one person. Is it a bit too arrogant to want to change thousands of people? But no matter how arrogant, there is no way to do it. Because the truth is in my hands. The theory of going to the communist world existed in his mind. If he doesn't act, who will act? If he doesn't work hard, who will work hard? If he doesn't change the world, will the world continue to sink in darkness? The world needs to change. Who made me the successor of the communist society? Chapter 225. The carriage moved forward in the heavily fortified military camp, passing by a watchtower. Whenever the carriage passed by, the soldiers on both sides would stop and give a military salute, looking at the carriage with respect and admiration. Inside the carriage, Kylan and Tessa have been secretly competing, eyes collided and sparks flew. Will calculated various plans and progress in his mind. He didn't have much time to stay in Kawa City, and many things had to be finished and dealt with. Originally, I wanted to count on Tessa. It's a pity that Tessa's performance disappointed him too much. After he left, it's a good thing that Tessa can maintain her current state. Let Tessa educate the wizard who will arrive at the station in the future. Let Tessa help the development of Kava City. My power alone is limited after all. Once, he arrogantly wanted to change the world by himself. After growing up, he discovered how naive his thoughts were. The world, not my world, belongs to the people, and only the people can change the world and create history. Even if his strength beats the world. Even if he stands on top of the world. Even if he becomes an omnipotent god. If that power cannot serve the people, lead the people to happiness, and let the people have the same power as him, then it will be meaningless. Equality is not only equality among peoples. He is also a member of the people. What he has, the power he has, why can't other people have it or get it? Time flies so fast while thinking. Not long after, the destination has been reached. Walking towards the experimental site of the life medicine, along the way, the smell of the medicine became stronger and stronger. Into a shed. 30 simple wooden beds and 30 wooden barrels filled with potions were placed in the shed. Commander Terry, Commander Lyde, Commander Vic. All the high-level officials in Kawa City are here. The most conspicuous of them was a grey-haired man with a crazy look, Judd, a pharmacist in the army. As an experienced pharmacist, Judd's level is among the ordinary people, and he is already the top group of people. Upon seeing Will come in, everyone greeted Will respectfully. Judd stared at Will frantically, as if looking at a peerless beauty. I saw Judd approaching Will, and stuffed a bunch of crumpled papers into Will's hands. Master Will, this is where the life potion has been improved. Will already knew this information. Although a year ago, he had already handed over the task of developing and improving the life medicine to Judd. But he still pays attention all the time. As for the progress of the life potion, he knew every step very well. This time I increased the amount of 3 grams of heart powder, replaced the green frost grass with ground snake root, and invited workers from the imperial capital to improve the stove, and the temperature is more stable. Judd spoke excitedly, as if taking credit for Will. Summarizing and discussing is one of the secrets of success. But it also depends on timing. Now a bunch of bosses are waiting to see the results of the experiment. Who wants to hear your jabbering? Will stopped Judd with 2 or 3 words and let him start the experiment. The experiment begins. The new life potion is quite different from before. Previously, life potions were infused through the heart. Because the operation was too difficult, the wound was easily infected, and it was easy to cause psychological trauma, so it was quickly abandoned. Changed the way of oral administration and external application. 30 experimenters were brought up. These 30 people are all reserve knights, and they are healthy, strong-willed, loyal and honest. Instead of experimenting with seriously injured and dying people as before. Among the 30 reserve knights, half, that is, 15 people, practiced breathing techniques. The other 15 people have reached this level by practicing breathing and gymnastics. 30 reserve knights lay naked on the bed. Judd took his pharmacists to rub medicines and acupuncture for the soldiers. After the life potion is improved, the safety is much higher, the refining method is also much easier, and the difficulty of operation is also reduced a lot. It's just that the process is more cumbersome and takes more time. Unlike before, a needle pierced the heart. Whether it is life or death, success or failure, it usually takes a few minutes to see results. Hurry up, and it only takes a few seconds. Potion that cannot withstand the potion of life, death. Rubbing potion, massage acupuncture points, acupuncture. Half an hour later. 30 soldiers drank the internal medicine, with a dozen silver needles inserted into their bodies, and walked into the wooden barrel. Close the lid of the wooden barrel, leaving only a gap for breathing. The stove caught fire. Under the scorching flames, the wooden barrel began to steam. If you listen carefully, you can hear the dull sound of pain coming from the barrel. In the narrow wooden barrel, soaked in medicine, his eyes were dark. Under the barrel, the flames were burning. Like being in a steamer. This kind of pain is unimaginable and unbearable for ordinary people. If it's just a short few minutes or 10 minutes, that's all. The problem is that it needs to stay in the barrel for 3 hours. Even if it successfully stimulates vitality. One step closer to strength. There may also be many psychological problems. Whether it is worth it or not is another matter. Given Will's choice, he'd rather get a shot in the heart. But after 2 years of research and improvement, this method is now the safest and most secure. As long as you can bear the pain, this method is beneficial and harmless. Everyone who uses the medicated bath of life can get nourished by the medicated bath and become stronger. Even if the cultivation base cannot break through to become a quasi-night and night. There is no doubt that the strength has become stronger. Moreover, the same person can use the life medicine bath many times. Although the success rate is much lower than injecting life medicine from the heart, you can try it many times. Once is not twice, twice is not 3 times, 3 times is not 4 times. As long as your talent is not too low, or you have practiced physical training, a reserve night, the probability of stimulating your vitality within 5 times is 80%. At the peak of the quasi-night, the probability of becoming a knight within 10 times is 50%. Hold on, becoming a quasi-knight and knight is not a dream. However, this requires a very strong will. In a dark and narrow wooden barrel, it was boiled for 3 hours with an unpleasant smell. This kind of crime is not something ordinary people can bear. Even Will himself can't guarantee 100% that there will be no psychological problems. In the anxious waiting, 3 hours is so long. When the time comes, stop the fire immediately, lift the lid, and fish out the person. Everyone in the barrel looked sluggish, in a trance, and their eyes were dull. A dull look. Now, what they need is a good rest and proper psychological counseling. Unfortunately, the rest is fine. Psychological counseling? This world is not that advanced. Others need to wait for the test subjects to rest and take the test before knowing the results. But Will was different. He easily saw the changes in the soldiers' bodies through the eyes of reality. Have 4 people stimulated their vitality and became quasi-knights? 4 out of 15? The probability is pretty good. Although a total of 30 people participated in the experiment. But the 15 people who practice breathing and gymnastics are just for comparison. Have practiced breathing exercises, but still want to stimulate vitality? That's why I think breathing exercise is a failure. In fact, in his opinion, isn't life potion a failure? It has become a life medicine bath. The success rate is touching, the process is cumbersome, the mental damage to people is high, the price is still quite expensive, and it takes too long. There are too many shortcomings in the life medicine bath. But, something is better than nothing, right? With the life medicine bath, the number of quasi-knights in Kawa City can be increased by 50%, and the number of knights can be increased by 2 layers. Plus a large number of reserve knights trained in breathing exercises. The military strength of Kawa City has more than doubled. Chapter 226. If life medicine baths and breathing exercises can be popularized among humans, the combat effectiveness of humans at the middle and lower levels will be multiplied several times. However, the price of practicing breathing exercises is cutting off the future. A lifelong reserve knight. Life medicinal baths can easily cause mental problems. He didn't want quasi-knights, knights, and great knights to be a bunch of guys with mental problems in the future. It's just that in the initial stage, we encountered so many problems, not to mention official wizards. I don't know how long it is to reach a world where everyone is a knight, and the difficulty of becoming a knight is similar to that of graduating from elementary school. Let's go. After that, the 30 people who were waiting for the experiment rested and got the test results. It was getting late. Commander Terry, Commander Lyde, Commander Vic. The high-level executives of Kava City, Will and others gathered together to summarize the life medicine bath experiment. Not every experiment is so grand. Commander Terry and the others generally just expressed their concern beforehand and listened to the results afterwards. Like today, it took a whole day to participate from beginning to end. It was the first time. This is because this time may be the last time Will participate in the experiment. It wasn't long before Will was leaving. Judd is fully responsible for the research on the life medicine bath, and there is no Will to guide and solve problems behind the scenes. So this experiment and summary matter a lot. At the summary meeting, Judd was proud of the various progress and improvements in the research of the life medicine bath and the reports, as well as the changes brought to Kava City. Will watched everything with a smile from below. Occasionally, I will make some comments, but generally speaking, most of them are appreciated. Is there really no problem with life medicated bath? No. So many questions. Will can easily find dozens of improvement points. It can increase the medicinal properties of the life medicine bath by more than 10 times. It is quite the same as transforming a Wuling Hongguang into a Ferrari every minute. The question is, does it make sense to do so? How is Ferrari? Of course. Although it is not the number one in the world, it is still no problem to crush Wuling Hongguang. But Wuling Hongguang makes several times more money than Ferrari. Are there many flaws in life medicated bath? Many. But after improvement, while the efficacy of the medicine is increased by 10 times, the difficulty of refining is also increased by 10 times, and the cost of refining is also increased by 10 times. Ordinary pharmacists can't make it at all. Because the cost is too high, it cannot be popularized. At the end of the meeting, Will gave several major directions for improvement. As for whether it will be successful or not, and how long it will take, he cannot know. The meeting is over. Have a meal together. It was completely dark when we left. In the night sky, stars twinkle. 3 moons hang high in the sky, the cold moonlight pours down, and the night is like day. Master Will. Commander Lyde stood beside Will respectfully, staring at Will respectfully. Anything else? Will asked. My lord, I have considered what you said. Lyde seemed to have made a major decision. Will had guessed what Lyde was going to say next. Are you sure you want to choose that path? Becoming a paladin is a better choice. Will advised. Lyde has good talent, will and blood. After returning from the Green Spirit Kingdom, Lyd became Will's half-apprentice. In addition to Lyde, Will also hired several people to guide. The reason why he did this was, firstly, to increase the high-level power in Kawa City. Low to medium combat power, with breathing exercises and life medicine baths, is no longer in short supply. But there are not many high-level combat powers, especially those at the Grand Knight level. The second is to study breathing. The people Will chooses to teach, except for Lyde who is extremely talented. The rest of the people were all born with unique talents, but their breathing skills were too low to take a step closer. Like quite known as the Little Giant. Tall, powerful, and powerful. It's a pity that the talent of breathing method is too low. He is in his 30s and is still a quasi-knight. Although Quite was only at the knight level due to his natural physique, his strength was already comparable to that of a great knight, and his combat power could compete with the peak of a knight. If Quite can reach the level of a great knight, he might be able to compete with Lyde in strength. The problem is, being a great knight isn't easy. With Quite's talent, it's hard to say whether he can become a knight in this life. But with Will's help, that's going to make a big difference. With Will's hands-on teaching, Will even created a set of exercises called Strong Breathing Method tailored for Quite. Quite had already become an official knight half a year ago. The name of Vigorous Breathing Method is a bit frustrating, but it is also a top-level breathing method that can directly reach paladins and can greatly strengthen the practitioner's strength and defense. Not only Quite, but other people, including Lyd, Will created a set of breathing methods tailored for them. After modifying again and again, the breathing method created is highly compatible with the person, and can achieve twice the result with half the effort. One day, I will create a breathing method that everyone can practice. At that time, practicing breathing method was like doing radio gymnastics, like dancing in a square dance. Everyone's physique is different, men, women, old and young are different. It is quite difficult to create a breathing method that suits everyone. But not 1 set, but 5 sets, 7 sets, 13 sets? Gathering experience is very important. First try to create a breathing method for people with moderate talents, so that their cultivation speed can be compared with those with top talents. Then create breath work for the less gifted. Wait until talent. To extremely poor talent. To no talent. The cycle is gradual, with more and more experience, more and more proficiency, and the created breathing method becomes simpler and more powerful. At this stage, the breathing method created can only be used by the person himself, and if other people practice it, the effect will be greatly reduced. Slowly, people with similar physique can use it, and the effect will be the same. Then spread to the same race to practice, the effect is the same. To the same skin color, the same age, the same gender, and the same class and species. Are you sure you want to choose body training? Will asked again. There are two ways to become stronger in front of Lide. One is to continue to practice breathing and become a paladin. The other is to practice physical training, greatly strengthen the physique, and be able to use night martial arts when the bloodline ability is activated, and the combat power has been significantly improved. Practicing the physical exercise method can quickly increase your strength, but it also cuts off your path to becoming a paladin. You have to think about it carefully. I have a deep understanding. Otherwise, he would have become a paladin as early as 16 or 17 years old. The improvement of the paladin's strength should go beyond the body training method, and the future is even more promising. Will can teach Lide only the elementary body training method. Although the intermediate body training method is strong, it is impossible for Lide to learn it without the aid of potions, and without the courses of magic and spiritual power. However, the strengthening effect of the elementary forging method is good for ordinary people. For Lide, who is the peak of the Great Knight, it is not bad to strengthen his physique by 2 or 3 achievements. I've thought about it. It's too difficult to become a paladin. In my current situation, it's impossible to achieve it in my lifetime. Lide shook his head and smiled wryly. Lide is very talented. If he can let go of everything and concentrate on pursuing martial arts. With Will's guidance, coupled with my talent and hard work, there is a 7-story probability of becoming a paladin. But Leader was a commander-in-chief. The military affairs are busy every day, and the time spent on cultivation is inherently small. With the gradual decentralization of the head coach Terry and wanting to give up the position of head coach to Lide, the things he needs to do and think about every day have increased significantly compared to before. As long as he is still the commander-in-chief, it is impossible to become a paladin. For him, body training can only be a helpless choice. Okay, I see. Will nodded. Although I understand it in my heart, I still feel a little distressed seeing a genius cut off his future. In the next half-month, I will try my best to teach you how to exercise. How much you can learn depends on your luck. Chapter 227. At night. On the Hain. Ships ride on the waves. The stars all over the sky are reflected in the river water, drifting with the tide in the surging waves. The air is so stuffy. Just like when he came to Kawa City by boat 3 years ago. Will sat beside the boat, fishing with a fishing rod made of green bamboo. The strange thing is that the fish thread he used is just ordinary, thin thread used for sewing clothes, which cannot withstand too much force at all. If the fish bites hard, the thread will break. At the end of the silk line, the part that hangs below the river surface has no bait, let alone a hook. And so he fished. He is not purely for fishing, but for cultivation. Use magic to strengthen the thin thread so that it can bear the weight of the fish. The spiritual power is transmitted along the green bamboo to the filament, and when it reaches the end of the filament, it emits numerous and subtle mental fluctuations. Everything in the world, as long as it is alive, has spiritual power. Different creatures have different mental power fluctuations. He is now adjusting the frequency of mental power to attract fish to take the bait. If the mental power is too strong, it will scare away the fish. The mental strength is too weak, when the fish bites the hook and hangs up, it will hurt and let go of its mouth. Moreover, different fish have different mental power fluctuations. By adjusting the mental power, you can attract different fish to take the bait. Will sat cross-legged on the edge of the boat, with his eyes closed and his expression calm. In his mental space, the underwater scene is unobstructed. Hundreds of fish, large and small, of different species circled around his shreds. Occasionally, fish bite the rein. Sometimes due to too strong fluctuations in mental power, the fish will rush away. Sometimes the fish will fight for the bite and fight together. A grass carp couldn't bear the temptation and bit the filament. Will lifted the fishing rod upwards, and the grass carp bit Yusi hard, and its body was out of the water, hanging in mid-air. Thump! Grass carp struggled to fall back to the surface of the water. I not only have to get the fish to take the bait, but also to make them bite hard and not let go, so that I can catch the fish. He had been falling for a whole night, and there was still not a single fish in the fish basket beside him. But he never tires of it. Because it doesn't matter to him whether he can catch fish or not. As long as the cultivation base can improve. While controlling the magic power to strengthen the shredded fish, it is necessary to adjust the spiritual power at the same time. It should not be too large or too small. This kind of delicate operation of using magic power and spiritual power at the same time is indeed too difficult. He felt that his spiritual power was slowly breaking through the bottleneck. At this speed, it is estimated that within a month or two, my advanced meditation method will be able to break through the 4th level. Yes. Until now, Will's meditation method is still only 3 levels. Although he has accumulated tens of thousands of source power in the past 3 years, he has not used source power to upgrade advanced meditation methods. The same is true for Alder Phaeon, which is still at the 3rd level. Upgrading by yourself is also a good experience. In addition, the bigger reason is not to cause too much sensation. The 3rd level advanced meditation method, the mental power is already at the upper middle level among the 3rd class apprentices, and it is more than enough for the advanced 3rd class apprentices. Would it be too much for a 2nd class apprentice with low spiritual talent to be comparable to a top 3rd class apprentice? He has strong fighting power, and it can also be said that he has practiced breathing techniques. How to say that the mental power is so strong? And in a few months, after the advanced meditation method is upgraded to the 4th level, the mental power will be the best among the 3rd class apprentices, as long as it is enough. Moreover, he has practiced spiritual skills and magic skills, which made his control over magic power and spiritual power far superior to that of ordinary 2nd class apprentices. Many important advanced courses related to advancement are related to controlling magic power and spiritual power. I have fully met the requirements, and it doesn't matter whether I learn it or not. I will go back and directly practice advanced body training methods, advanced 3rd class apprentices, that's it. Put away the fishing rod. The subtle control of mental power is too exhausting. Strengthening the thread with magic power consumes too much magic power. This is the end of tonight's practice. Before returning to the room, he looked towards the lower reaches of the Hain River, where Kava City was located. I've stayed in this place for 3 years. I don't know when I'll be able to come back after this farewell. I'm still somewhat reluctant. When he left, Commander Tai Li, Commander Lide, and other high-level officials in Kawa City all tried to persuade him to stay in Kawa City. Although I don't want to give up in my heart, it is impossible to stay. Before leaving, Will promised Kylan that he would find a chance to take her home in the future. But Kylan refused. Kava City is my home, I want to stay here, guard it, and die here. Everyone has their own pursuit, and he doesn't want to force it. Master Will, what's so interesting about fishing? Let's have a drink together. General Harder walked up to Will with his eyes squinted and blushing, holding the jug. Looking at Harder, who smelled like alcohol, Will sighed. It's still a step slower. The city of Isai has arrived. The city of Iser is located on the upper reaches of the Hain River. It is an important supply base and granary for Kava City. Every month, a large amount of food, weapons, and soldiers are transported from Isai City to Kava City. Without the solid backing of Isai City, it is impossible for Kawa City to face the Green Spirit's offensive and wrestle with the Green Spirit in the Musha rainforest. Ships approach the port. Welcomed and surrounded by a group of people, Will stepped off the ship. The fat and greasy nobleman walked beside him, staring at him with flattering eyes, and kept introducing him to the city of Isser. She also kept hinting to him that no matter if it was money, beautiful women, or other things, as long as he wanted, he could satisfy him as much as possible. In this regard, Will proposed that only a quiet house is needed. And put away the goods he brought. Will could see that, unlike the nobles who tried their best to please him, the soldiers and civilians around him hated him extremely. At his level, ordinary people's fluctuations in mental power, radiance of vitality, and subtle facial expressions cannot be hidden from him. He can easily read the emotions of these people. As long as they use a little thought, the thoughts in their hearts can be seen at a glance. This is the gap between wizards and ordinary people. No matter how strong your fighting power is, no matter how determined your will is, you have insufficient mental power and low mental power control, so what you do and think, in front of the wizard, there is no secret at all. Even if your mental strength has passed, if you don't have the corresponding state of mind, the thoughts in your heart can be easily guessed by others. Like Corinne, I met in the ruins of Mulan Black Castle before. At that time, Li had the strength equivalent to the peak of a third-class apprentice. Even now facing Li, the winning rate does not exceed 30%. But in Will's eyes, Corinne is like a child with a kitchen knife. A person who can't even control his own desires and emotions, no matter how powerful he is, can only be someone else's puppet after all. Feel the malicious eyes of others. A series of negative thoughts emerged in my mind. Will was upset and turned off the perception that collects emotional thoughts. I'm still too young to be easily affected by other people's emotions. He smiled wryly. But soon, it won't be long, after I advance to a third-class apprentice and further improve my control over my body, this situation will not happen again. Chapter 228. He knew why the people in Isai City hated him so much. Isai City is an important transit point for returning to the college. Only once a year, the convoy to the academy will pass through the city of Isaiah and head to the academy. The Jalo Potion Academy is located deep in the Intis forest, a place that is inaccessible to human beings. Although there are not many people in the academy, there are also many. Moreover, wizards have a strong physique and need more food than ordinary people, as well as daily necessities. In the academy, potions are also used a lot. It is impossible for the college to grow materials by itself, and must be collected from all over the world. Therefore, every time, the convoy will transport the materials collected from various countries back to the college. And every year, there will be convoys departing from the academy to send the potions and medicines refined by the academy to various places in various countries. He only knew that the convoy would pass through the city of Isai in the next period of time. But it is not clear whether it will be 3 days later, 10 days later, or 1 month later. He could only arrive in Isai City ahead of time and wait in the city, along with other wizard apprentices. Those wizard apprentices who were assigned to the resident of the Amona Empire like him. He knows the way back to the academy. Walking with the convoy will only slow down the speed and take more time. The problem is that he still has a few carts of supplies. These are the medicinal materials and potions he refined in Kawa City. It is no problem to take them back to the academy and sell dozens of high-level magic stones. If you don't follow the convoy and want to transport so many things back to the academy, accidents are easy to happen. Following the convoy, safety is at least guaranteed. Even king-level monsters dare not attack the convoy. The hatred of the snake people towards me should not be so easy to resolve. He is still afraid of snake people. After the king-level monsters who were afraid of the Snake Man clan sensed his breath, they rushed out and killed him in seconds. My current strength is indeed very strong, and my combat power is already comparable to the peak of a third-class apprentice, but compared to a formal wizard, I am still too weak. If they want to, they can kill me in seconds. In the face of king-level monsters and official wizards, he has no resistance at all. Following the convoy is the safest thing. In fact, there is no need to think of king-level monsters too scary. Since it didn't attack me when I followed the convoy out of the academy last time, I don't think it will make any moves this time. Came to the accommodation arranged for him by the city lord of Isai City. He could notice that the people around him looked at him with deep fear. When he walked by, he could clearly feel the trembling of other people's feet. Looking forward with both eyes, he could see 3 powerful fluctuations of mental power. It seems that those guys have caused a lot of trouble here. Although he was upset, Will didn't intend to say anything more. He just wanted to be quiet, wait for the convoy to arrive, and then follow the convoy back to the academy. I just want to be a low-key person and don't want to cause trouble. However, it's not that he doesn't want to cause trouble, so trouble won't come to him. On the second day after he came to Isai City, 3 people came to the door. 2 men and 1 woman, 3 people wearing black wizard apprentice robes, all 3 are second-class apprentices. Their expressions were sullen, their eyes were full of haze, and they looked at Will with malicious eyes, as if they were looking at a lamb at the slaughter. After the 3 of them briefly introduced themselves, they stared at Will with unfriendly eyes. One is named Humu. His whole body was covered in a large black robe, his eyes were cloudy, without a trace of emotion. Judging from the magic power emitted, the monster should be the Lagi leopard, but it is very different from the ordinary Lagi leopard. One is named Wade. I have never seen the magic power emanating from it before. The magic seed should not be transplanted in the academy, but a magic seed obtained by accident just like him. The last one was a woman named Meg. There is a dark crack on Meg's forehead, and he is a transplanter of the night demon eye demon seed. You guys, what can I do for you? Will had already guessed what they wanted to do. We are all apprentices who were sent to the resident, and we are the outcasts of the academy. It was Hwade who spoke first. We have been away from the academy for 3 years, and we, who are already not talented, are already far behind the others. The method is that it is impossible to become a third-class apprentice before the arrival of the birthday. So? Will narrowed his eyes. So we should help each other and tide over the difficulties together. Mag shouted sharply. Who was the strongest among the three, stared at Will, silently releasing the pressure. They were all waiting for Will's reaction. If Will is willing to cooperate obediently and achieve his goal without using violence, that is naturally excellent. Will was, after all, a second-class apprentice. I still don't know what Will's demon seed is and what abilities it has. In a fight, even if it's 3-on-1, it's inevitable that you will get hurt. Staring at the golden pupil of Will's left eye, Hwade always had a bad feeling in his heart. Demon seed? Impossible. He is only in his teens or 20s. How could he be the peak second-class apprentice? If he had this talent, he would not be sent to the station. He must be a different pupil. Due to his practice and regimen, Will's appearance and body shape have not changed much. Up to now, he still looks like an ignorant aristocratic young master who is 16 or 17 years old, with fair and smooth skin, and a slender figure who has never experienced wind and rain. It's just that no matter how much he comforted himself, Hwade couldn't dispel the uneasiness in his heart. So what if he's a second-class apprentice at the peak? If his golden left eye is a monster, it means he's not a fighting type. Are we afraid that he won't succeed in a 3-on-1? Thinking of this, the uneasiness in Hwade's heart disappeared immediately. The combat power of a wizard apprentice is linked to the demon seed. Possessing a powerful combat-type monster, a first-class apprentice, his combat power can crush the pinnacle of a great knight without blood. Auxiliary monsters have reached the peak of second-class apprentices, and they have to say hello to whether their combat power can be compared with that of a great knight. Help, that's what it should be. Will smiled. Is it like a mutual aid association? Let's discuss and learn together, exchange knowledge, share contacts, and work together to make progress together? Do you think that's possible? McGonagall screamed, trying to taunt Will, but was stopped by Wade. Hwade said with a friendly tone and expression, "Your residence is Kava City, right? I heard that it goes deep into the Musha rainforest and borders the Casta Kingdom. It is also one of the best among all the residences. For them, going to the station is almost like being dispatched. The first thing to consider is not how to help the resident people. Instead, collect magic stones. Therefore, every time the apprentices went to a station, apart from having fun, they tried their best to search for all the things that could be exchanged for magic stones. Therefore, when every apprentice leaves the station, he will bring a few cars, or even dozens of cars. But most of these things are of low value. Can only rely on quantity to win. Even so, in 3 years, you can usually only earn a few high-level magic stones. Because not everyone can refine potions. Especially for those who have transplanted demon seeds, they don't have enough time to practice physical training and meditation. How can they put so much effort into learning how to refine potions? Learning potions, not only can't make money in the early stage, but in many cases, it will cost you money. Chapter 229. Even if I started to make money, I didn't earn as many magic stones as I did quests. Because most of the refined potions were refined for the academy and tutors, and his own income was very little. So much so that all those willing to learn potions in the academy, except Will himself, were all bloodlines. Refining potions actually requires a lot of talent. He himself has been interested in pharmacy since he was a child. When he was in his hometown of Lunttown, his level of pharmacy surpassed that of Grandpa Barry, and he was also one of the best in Moonset City. Afterwards, wherever he went, he learned as much as possible about various herbs, minerals, and medicines. His talent and hard work in potion science are beyond the reach of ordinary people. After arriving at the academy, there was the hand-in-hand guidance of the master potionist, Vertley. It should be said that his current achievements in potion science were expected. When he was in Kava City, he had thought about teaching Tessa potions. It's a pity that Tessa herself is not interested in potions at all. Although she knows that potions can earn magic stones, she wants to study hard, but she doesn't like potions because of her lack of talent. So until the end, Tessa's level of potions was still very low. Even old man Judd, a military doctor, can't compare. Therefore, for those apprentices who don't know how to refine potions and are sent to the station, how should they earn magic stones? First, earn magic stones through military exploits. There are too few magic stones obtained in this way, and it is not so difficult to get 300 military merits every month. Second, collect precious materials. Can't refine potions, don't you know the raw materials? Haven't eaten pork, haven't seen a pig run? The resident system is something that should be abolished. Perhaps in the distant past, the resident system played a vital role. The problem is that nothing is set in stone. Once a beautiful system, as time goes by, if it is not changed in accordance with the trend, it may become a cancer, and instead become a hindrance to social progress. Today's wizards sent to the resident not only cannot help the people in the resident, contribute to the prosperity of the resident, but more often play a destructive role. He is also aware of the harmful behavior of the 3 apprentice wizards in front of him after they came to Isai City. When I was stationed, it would only be more excessive than it is now. Thinking about it, Will lowered his head with deep eyes. Didn't notice the change in Will's eyes, maybe did, but didn't take it seriously. Wade continued, I heard that it is rich in all kinds of rare raw materials, and you can trade all kinds of information from Kava City with the green spirit to get all kinds of rare things. Deal? Will was taken aback. It was the first time he had heard such a statement. The wizard apprentice is sent to the garrison as the special envoy of the kingdom. If he doesn't try his best to protect the garrison, he will forget all kinds of harm to the garrison, and even trade military secrets with the green spirit. We have seen the things you brought, and you can see that you are very delicate and skilled in handling medicinal materials. You should be a potion master, right? Wade stared at Will with glowing eyes. Did you turn over my things? Will's expression became even more gloomy. Because he thought that no one would dare to touch his things, he just ordered people to put the things in the warehouse and left him alone. After all, it is impossible to carry a few cars with you at all times. Of course, like the refined potion and the precious core of the giant tree, he kept it with him all the time, and it was impossible to give it to others. Those materials are handled and preserved very well. After getting them to the academy, it shouldn't be a problem to sell 15 or 6 high-level magic stones. Wade almost regarded these things as his own. You want? No, 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 those are the things you worked so hard to collect, how could we snatch them? Wade scanned Will's room, as if looking for something. In 3 years, you should have refined less potions? Just donate those potions. Is this what you mean by helping each other? Will smiled. You have so many magic stones, why don't you share some with us? Don't you want to die? Mag's voice was hoarse and sharp, extremely unpleasant. Will, don't you want to help your friends? Wyatt stared at Will with a murderous intent. Friend? From childhood to adulthood, there is no one who can be called his friend and recognized as a friend by him. With the 3 of them, how dare they call themselves his friends? I didn't expect you to be such a selfish person. Wade shook his head in disappointment. There was a cruel smile on Mag's face. I said it earlier, it's useless to talk big things about people like him. Humu, who was standing at the end, had originally cloudy eyes suddenly sharpened. His eyes were like knives, stabbing at Will. The 3 of them are already planning to do it. I didn't look for you, so you dare to send them to your door? Will didn't have the slightest affection for the 3 of them, but wished to cut them into pieces. In less than a month in Isai City, how many women have you harmed? How many civilians have you killed? How many families have been destroyed directly or indirectly? Will's tone was extremely cold. Before, the reason why he didn't come to the door was to kill the 3 wizard apprentices who were full of evil one by one. Considering that it's not all their fault. It's more wizards, it's the resident system, it's the world's fault. Sent to the resident, there is no hope of a 3rd-class apprentice, and he may not live to be 30 years old. In such a desperate situation, it is understandable to do anything. If it were him, he might have gone too far. Fortunately, he knows potions. Fortunately, his advanced meditation method has reached the 3rd level, and his spiritual power has reached the level of a 3rd-class apprentice. Fortunately, his intermediate exercise method can be called a master level. Otherwise, how could he still become a 3rd-class wizard after wasting 3 years in the resident? There is a high probability that he will also fall, right? Be like the 3 people in front of you, hateful and hateful scum, right? Therefore, after he arrived in Isai City, he did not take the initiative to question and punish them. Out of sight is pure. But if they appeared before his eyes? The moment he saw the three of them, Will sentenced them to death. If the three of them had come to kneel down to beg for mercy, confess their sins, and swear never to do bad things again, it would not be impossible to spare their lives. It's a pity, you take my kindness as a concession. What do you want to say? Huaid's hairs stood on end, and the shadow of death shrouded him. The ominous premonition that had disappeared rose again in his heart, and it was raised to the extreme. Will's right hand turned into a phantom and attacked Wyatt's head. Click! Huaid's head turned 360 degrees at once. Wilder stared at Will in shock, his body fell down, and he died. Almost within a second of revealing his killing intent, he killed Huaid. Huaid couldn't even finish a sentence, a real instant kill. After killing Wilder, Will looked at McGonagall. The eyes were so cold, and the killing intent was undisguised. What the hell is going on with you? Mag yelled in horror, the ability to instantly kill Wilder was beyond her imagination. From Will's monstrous killing intent, she almost saw the scene of her own death. Must work hard. The vertical pupil on the forehead suddenly stared open. A beam of light grey light that was as real as it was shot out from the night demon's eyes and landed on Will's head. The speed of the beam of light was so fast and sudden that even Will couldn't dodge it. Is this the night demon eye? Night demon eye has a very strong detection auxiliary ability. Its comprehensiveness and usability are above his true eye. Chapter 230. It's just that the strengthening of the night magic eye's body is too weak. The fighting power of night magic eye transplanters is far below that of Lehabeo and Burst Earth Bear. Will, his true eye, has the blood of a dragon. So although his demons are not combat type, the strengthening of the body by the demons is no worse than that of the Lagi Leopard and the explosive Earth Bear. Originally thought that Mag was just a little lamb at the mercy of others. As long as the eyes are staring and the coercion is released, Mag will immediately be paralyzed. Didn't expect to have the ability to resist? When the beam of light fell on him, he was startled. Spiritual attack? There are many spiritual skills, but very few skills that can directly attack the enemy's spirit. Because the income is too low, the consumption is too high. A normal mental attack, unless there is a huge difference in mental power between the two parties, can only make the other party confused and dizzy for a moment at most, and you will consume most of your mental power. Earnings are extremely low. You know mental skills? Not bad. Spiritual skills and magical skills are mostly learned by third-class apprentices. It's not that second-class apprentices can't learn it, it's because using magic skills requires magic power, and ordinary second-class apprentices can't control magic power at all. The control of mental power is not up to standard. At the peak of the second-class apprentice, you can learn magic skills and spiritual skills. But where did he get the time and extra magic stones to study? The time and magic stones for advanced third-class apprentices are not enough. Unfortunately, you used the wrong object. Mental attacks are not effective against people whose mental strength is comparable to their own, let alone those whose mental strength is far superior to their own. McGonagall's mental strength is only average for second-class apprentices, while Will is above average for third-class apprentices. The light from the pupils on Mag's forehead fell on Will, and Will felt like he was exposed to the midday sun, and his skin was a little hot. Hurry up, hurry up! McGonagall yelled hoarsely at Humu with a pale and ferocious face. Before Hume had time to make a move, Will's body flashed and came to McGonagall. You, how is it possible? Mag's eyes widened suddenly. He looked incredulously at Will, who was right in front of him. After enduring a full-strength blow that consumed most of her mental power, there was nothing wrong with it. Too strange. Even if he is the peak second-class apprentice, he should have some influence, right? In doubt, McGonagall was pinched by Will's neck and snapped. Throwing the weakened Mag aside, he looked at the last person, Humu. I'll give you a chance to do something. Will stood there, looking at Hume with interest. Hume is the strongest of the three. But no matter how strong he is only a second-class apprentice and cannot be his opponent. With his original personality, he should have killed Hum directly. But he found something interesting in Humu. Magic power? A second-class apprentice actually has such powerful magic power? Humu's magic power is actually much more than his. This phenomenon surprised Will. Staring at Humu's obese body covered by the wide robe of a wizard's apprentice, the monster is the Thunder Leopard? It's a little different. What's the secret of your body? Seeing Will easily kill Wilder and Mag in front of him, Humu's expression was unprecedentedly solemn. Although Wade and Mag are weak, they are also second-class apprentices. Will killed them like chickens, although Hume thought he could do it if he freed his power. But have to be careful. Hume took a few steps back to distance himself from Will. How about we each take a step back? If it is not a last resort, he does not want to liberate the power. That would make the demon species further corrode his body, bringing his body that was already on the verge of collapse one step closer to the brink of destruction. Do you think it's possible? Let's do it, don't waste my time. Will said impatiently. That can't be helped. Hume also had his own pride. Proposing a settlement with someone weaker than him is already the limit of his concession. And after killing you, all your things are mine. Hume licked his lips and looked at Will like a peerless beauty. Wilder and McGonagall were dead, and their things were his. And Will is a potion master, and the raw materials he collected are worth more than a dozen high-level magic stones. What about the hidden and refined potions? Adding up, there might be dozens of high-level magic stones. It is impossible not to be tempted by such a huge sum of money. Out of an abundance of caution, he offered a settlement. Will didn't agree. To be honest, he was relieved. Don't think, you are strong. Hume took off his wizard robe, revealing the strong muscles under the clothes, and the pair of weird arms. Hume is not a fat man, but a strong man with muscles all over his body. His baggy black robes of the wizard's apprentice were meant to hide his hands. Humu's hands are a pair of huge sharp claws with black fluff. They are very similar to the claws of the thunder leopard that Will saw in the monster manual. Your hands are not demon seeds, is that? This magic power still? Will was stunned, and then came to his senses. So that's the case, are you trying to break through the third-class apprentice? Humu, who was sent to the resident and knew that his future was bleak, came up with the idea of finding a way to advance to a third-class apprentice. The mental strength is not up to the standard, and there is no advanced body training method. What to do? Think for yourself. He tried, experimented, worked hard. Using his own body as an experimental tool, he searched again and again for a way to advance to a third-class apprentice that was different from the academy, without relying on advanced body training methods, advanced meditation methods and potions. He knows it's hard. Almost impossible. But there is no way, if you don't do this, there is only a dead end. Your will move me. Will sighed. Becoming a third-class apprentice is essentially a process of merging demon seeds. Humu wanted to fuse the demon seed by himself, but unfortunately failed. Not only failed to fuse, but the demon seed went berserk instead. The rampage of the monster is reflected in the body, that is, the body mutates. Although I failed to find the way to become a third-class apprentice, I also obtained unimaginably powerful power. Hume growled. His entire body began to swell, with hairs sprouting from his pores. On the 10 fingers, a deadly sharp blade 10 centimeters long popped out. The huge magic power turned into a black thunder, wrapped around his waist. Feel it? My mighty power? Fear. Tremble. Despair. Hume raised his head to the sky and screamed, under my incomparable power, turn into meat paste. Well. Will was embarrassed when he saw the scene in secondary school. Hee, do you regret it now? It's too late to beg for mercy. The increase in strength made Humu full of confidence. It's not over yet, my strength is more than this level. Liberate 10%, 20%, 30%. With the continuous liberation of power, the magic power that Xiaomu radiated became more and more exaggerated, and his figure became farther and farther away from humans, and his figure slowly approached Le Hobeo. I'm so interested. Will snorted and started his cloud walk. The figure flickered, and before Humu could react, he took off Humu's head and threw it to the ground. The strength is only raised to the level of a third-class apprentice, so why are you so proud? Chapter 231. For Humu, he was still looking forward to it. But think about it too. How much treasure can a person who is not outstanding in background and talent sent to the resident be able to possess? Think everyone is like him? When the monster runs amok, the body will mutate, the strength will increase sharply, and at the same time it will erode the body, the lifespan will be greatly reduced, and the difficulty of advancing will be greatly increased. No matter which wizard encountered this situation, his heart could only be described as despair. And looking at Humu, you feel very proud? What ignorance! Entering the academy, I only want to become stronger, and spend all my time on cultivation. Don't think about learning more knowledge. In the end, just like Xiaomu, he didn't know he was going the wrong way, and he showed off excitedly in front of him. As a result, I have been rambling on and on for a long time, and my strength has improved quite limited. However, third-class apprentices are much stronger than second-class apprentices. It is inevitable for Humu to be a little proud because he has grown from a second-class apprentice to a first-class third-class apprentice, and his strength has increased by more than several times. It's a pity he met Will. Looking at the three people lying in a pool of blood. They were born in insignificance and died in disgrace. Regarding their death, he only felt comfortable in his heart. After Will asked someone to carry out the dead Hume, Wade and McGonagall to get rid of the blood. 3 high-ranking Kingdom Special Envoys were killed by Will in one day. How do the people of Isar feel? No. I dare not have it. Everyone acted as if this had never happened. It's just that they kept Will even more at a distance. The nobles who originally wanted to please Will wanted to hand over the banquet invitation to Will, but they held it tightly in their hands and dared not hand it out. No one dared to offend Will, the god of death. Will also fell silent. No one bothered. They practice alone in the house every day, waiting for the arrival of the convoy. Today, a guest came to the door. General Harder came to visit with a timid little boy. The little boy hid behind General Harder, trembling uncontrollably, not daring to look directly at Will. Master Will, this is my grandson Bill. General Harder pulled the little boy out. Bill, meet Lord Will soon. Master Will, it's an honor to meet you. Bill made a lame knight salute. Will could see that Bill was afraid of him. It's no wonder that the city of Yisai has been full of rumors about him recently, comparing him to a devil. In this regard, he is also very helpless. Firstly, I didn't harm anyone, secondly, I didn't blackmail, and thirdly, I helped you get rid of the real scourge, Xiaomu and the other 3. Why do you feel that I am more hateful and frightening than Xiaomu and the others? Rumors are always so unreliable. Will didn't intend to explain, anyway, he was leaving in a few days. Master Will, I would like to ask you to guide Bill's breathing method. General Harder pleaded. Grandfather. Bill wanted to object, but after being glared at by Harder, he lowered his head obediently, not daring to raise any objections. No problem. Without thinking about it, Will immediately agreed. During the 3 years, General Harder helped him a lot and sent him many letters and items. He is still very happy to pay back a little now. With only a few days, I may not be able to teach him much. It's all right, it's his greatest honor to get your guidance. General Harder quickly thanked him. You must listen carefully to Lord Will's words. If you have neglected Lord Will, be careful that I will break your leg. After explaining a few words to Bill, General Harder left. Will studied Bill carefully. In his early 20s and 30s, he has fair skin and a beautiful appearance. When he grows up, he must be a rare and beautiful man, and he will become the dream lover of many young girls who are pregnant. How old are you? Will smiled kindly. 12. Bill stood upright, and his answer was short and powerful, like military training. How long have you been practicing breathing? I started practicing at the age of 5, a total of 7 years. What level is it? I just reached the reserve knight level 2 months ago. The two asked and answered, and within a short time, they had already asked more than a dozen questions. Will originally wanted to get closer to Bill, and he always tried to be as friendly as possible. Unfortunately, the relationship between the two has no tendency to improve at all. If he is willing to use spiritual hints, he can easily reverse this rigid relationship. But it's better not to use the practice of affecting people's minds and going against the wishes of others. It may be very hard in the future, you have to plan. Yes. Since the relationship is not good, I simply don't do it. Anyway, he can't teach for a few days. After that, we may not see each other for the rest of our lives. It's better to be a devil coach and train Bill hard. In the shortest possible time, teach Bill the most knowledge. And the price? Probably 10 times more tiring than the final sprint 1 month before the college entrance examination. After that, the painful training began. Every day, the boy's screams of pain can be heard from his house. Tired? I'll give you a massage. Hurt? I will heal. Sleepy? I have a refreshing potion. Sleep? Do you know that our time is precious? It's too late to study and want to sleep? What? How dare you say that the ideological and moral course is useless? Is it a waste of time? It seems that you have become more courageous, dare to question me? The all-round development of morality, sports, art, and labor is Will's educational policy. Compared with strength, ideology, and morality are what Will values most. Of course, he also knew that this world is a world honored by power. Therefore, his arrangements for the teaching of culture classes will not affect Bill's cultivation. So he arranged the cultural class in the middle of the night. Wouldn't it be nice to train during the day and study at night, combining work and rest? When he left, it was only 10 or so days, and Bill's strength had grown tremendously. Not surprisingly, it is not difficult to become a quasi-knight after 2 years. And Will also helped Bill modify the breathing method, so that the breathing method fits Bill's body better, and the training speed is faster and the combat power is stronger. Before parting, seeing Bill crying and not wanting to part with him, Will's nose also felt a little sad. Then, General Harder, this is the homework I assigned to Bill, and you must urge him to complete it in the future. Mathematics, Chinese, geography, foreign languages, books like Hills. This was written for the children in his hometown when he was free. However, the children in the family are still young and will not be able to use it for the time being, so I will give it to Bill first. Bill, you don't need to thank you as a teacher. This is what a teacher should do. Will patted Bill's head and said reluctantly. It feels good to be a teacher. No wonder I heard that some people are good teachers. It turned out not without reason. The joy of teaching others is unimaginable to ordinary people. Bill's face was pale, his eyes were empty, and he let out a weird hee-hee-hee laugh from time to time. Oh, is it so painful to be parted from being a teacher? Will rubbed Bill's head. Snort. When I met you, I tried my best to please you, but how dare I not appreciate it? Of course, I didn't intend to take revenge. The teacher is stricter and assigns a 3-year college entrance examination and 5-year simulation test paper as homework every day, all for your own good. Moreover, those test papers and books were all written by him, stroke by stroke. I raised you like my own son. Those book test papers were originally intended to be left to the children in their hometown, but now they are selflessly given to Bill. So, do you still have any dissatisfaction? Chapter 232. A convoy of hundreds of vehicles loaded with supplies moved slowly through the lush forest. There are tall trees on both sides of the road. The road twists and turns and stretches forward, with no end in sight. A huge convoy of hundreds of vehicles is walking in the lush and dense ancient forest, like a small earthworm, climbing in the woods. It is so small. Will sat in the carriage, looking out the window. In the eyes, until the junction of the sky and the earth, there is only a piece of emerald green. Intis Forest, Zero Potion Academy, after a 3-year absence, I'm back again. His heart was jumping, excited and cheering. He had waited too long for this day. Sitting in the carriage, he couldn't help looking out the window, like a primary school student on a spring outing. I kept thinking about the distance to the academy, the speed of the convoy, and how long it would take to reach the academy. In anxious waiting, night came again. We will arrive at the academy tomorrow morning. Looking towards the direction of the college, one can already vaguely see the tall towers of the college's ground buildings. After dinner, I sat cross-legged in the carriage to practice meditation. Every once in a while, Will would stop and scan his surroundings with his eyes of truth. It's the same, hey? What is the magic wave over there? About 1.5 kilometers away from the convoy, his real eyes saw a strange wave of magic power. Is it a monster? Fully operate the eye of reality. Magic, spirituality and life force concatenated into an abstract picture appeared in his mind. Although the line of sight was blocked, he couldn't see what happened, but through the energy fluctuations emanating from that place, through life synchronization and perception, Will still simulated the approximate scene in his mind. A person is fighting a monster? There is only one monster. The magic fluctuation of the monster is different from that of the known snake people and Feng Ying clan. Is it the 100-handed ghost clan? In the Intis forest, there are 3 monsters living in total. They are the Snake Man, Wind Eagle, and 100-handed Ghost Clan. The Snake People live in Guana Falls. Windhawks live in Reclau Twin Peaks. The 100-handed ghosts are relatively mysterious, and there is very little information. The race lives underground, and it's not clear where the entrance is. Many of the tasks issued by the Academy are related to the Snake Man and the Wind Eagle, but there are very few tasks involving the Hundred-Handed Ghost clan. Save? Or not? The distance of 1.5 kilometers, with his footsteps, the fastest time to return is only a few seconds. Let's take a look, maybe we can save another person? Saving a life is better than building a 7-level pagoda. Concealing his breath, he secretly ran towards the scene of the incident. The distance keeps shrinking. When there were still 200 meters away, hiding behind a tree, what happened in the field was presented in Will's eyes at a glance. That's the Hundred-Handed Ghosts? It feels really disgusting. Hundred-Handed Ghosts, the whole body is covered with black flesh on the arms. It is more than 3 meters high, like a small mountain of meat. Since the whole body is covered with arms, it is not clear where is the back, where is the stomach, where is the front, and where is the back. Can monsters grow so disgusting? Will has seen several kinds of monsters. Quadrilateral, a gorilla with 4 arms. Snake people, snakes with arms. Feng Ying, a big eagle with wisdom. And the Hundred-Handed Ghosts? Although I knew what it looked like in the monster illustrated book before, but because the illustrated book was very small, I thought that the Hundred-Handed Ghosts were also so small. The little meatballs with soft arms look cute. Who knew it could be that big? A full 3 meters high? In the illustration book, it looks soft and slender, like a root, but in reality, it is thick and big, black and hard, and covered with dark red blood vessels. I feel nauseous just looking at it. It was a petite and lovely girl who fought against the ugly hunk of the Hundred-Handed Ghosts. He was about 16 or 17 years old, with a slender figure, long soft golden hair, and silver eyes. At this time, the silver-eyed girl was wielding a long spear that was much taller than her, fighting with the Hundred-Handed Ghost clan with great difficulty. Why don't you use the bloodline ability? Is it the physical strengthening type, or the auxiliary type? The marksmanship is good, but it feels weird to watch a petite girl with a big gun. Oh? Is breathing mainly used in combat? It's a bit similar to my early fighting style, Peak Knight. So powerful. That girl who looked to be only 16 or 17 years old actually had the cultivation of a Peak Knight. So far, among the people he has seen, heard, and taught, there is no one who can reach the knight level in breathing before the age of 16. Not even a genius like Lyde. And this girl is not only a knight, but also the Peak Knight. It's unimaginable. How high is her breathing talent? The unknown bloodline ability and the cultivation base of the Peak Knight make her combat power comparable to that of an ordinary Peak Knight. Unfortunately, she is still a first-class apprentice, and her abilities seem to be auxiliary. It is impossible to defeat the Hundred-Handed Ghosts. That Hundred-Handed Ghost has the strength of a third-class apprentice. And the reason why the little girl can last so long is because the other party is playing. Hey? Is this not enough? Just work harder and give me more fun. Next, I'm going to hit your calf, be sure to block it. Not bad, right shoulder next. Can't stand up? It's really disappointing. Humans are really impatient. The little girl was leaning on a spear, kneeling on the ground full of scars. He stared straight at the Hundred-Handed Ghost clan, secretly accumulating this power. Even in this desperate situation, I still don't want to give up hope, and I still want to resist. Don't worry, I won't let you down. I will slowly torture you as you think, and let you die in pain and despair. The Hundred-Handed Ghost squirmed and approached the girl. Ha! Seeing the opportunity, the girl's body erupted with hot white light. The spear was thrown by her with all her strength. This shot condensed all her strength. So, when she saw the spear piercing the Hundred-Handed Ghost clan's skin without even pricking the skin and being bounced off, she almost shed tears. How could it be? The strength is so strong? She never thought that there would be such a powerful monster in this world. She originally thought that with her strength comparable to the peak of a great knight, no matter what dangers she encountered, it was more than enough to protect herself. Ha ha, ha ha ha, very good, this kind of eyes, this kind of expression, this kind of eyes full of despair, unwillingness, and anger, it's really wonderful. The Hundred-Handed Ghosts laughed loudly. The huge sound roared like thunder. Chapter 233. After a while, the Hundred-Handed Ghosts carried the tattered girl. Grabbing his head, he swayed in the air like a swing. Did you play badly? I dropped the girl a few times and poked it with my finger, but there was still no response. Take it back and wake her up to continue playing. After finally coming out for a trip, I also met a good toy. How can I be worthy of myself if I don't play for 10 days and a half months? I'm afraid I can't make your wish come true. A cold and deep voice sounded. Behind the woods, a young man wearing a black robe of an apprentice and holding a two-handed sword, who looked about 17 or 18 years old, came out step by step. The young man stared at the 100-handed ghosts with cold eyes, slowly raised the tip of his sword, and pointed it forward. Let her go. Do you want to save this woman? The 100-handed ghosts smiled. Today is really lucky, I just broke a toy, and a new one was brought up. Seeing that the 100-handed ghosts ignored him, Will got short and accelerated suddenly. The big sword sliced through the air, making a piercing sound. Tear. The hand of the 100-handed ghost holding the girl was cut off by Will's sword. The girl used her last strength to strike with all her strength, and her body, which couldn't even pierce the skin, was easily severed by Will. Hug the girl and stay away from the 100-handed ghosts. After feeding the girl the potion he carried with him, and putting the girl under the tree trunk, Will turned and looked directly at the 100-handed ghosts. The 100-handed ghost clan was not annoyed when Will cut off one hand. Grab the broken arm with the other hand, the arm is melted and absorbed, the broken part grows again, and the new arm is waving. Hey, I recognize you. The 100-handed ghost said excitedly, you are Will, right? The funny little guy who destroyed the snake human hatchery 3 years ago. It seems that my name is quite resounding. Will didn't expect that any monster he met would know him. I heard that you survived under that old fellow Edane, and even ran to the territory of the Wind Eagle to hide for a month. What a fellow. The 100-handed ghosts surrounded Will. It's a pity that you only bombed half of the snake eggs, you should bring a few more magic bombs to blow up all the snake eggs. I'll learn my lesson next time. Hey? The 100-handed ghosts were taken aback. Ha ha, you are really interesting, I like you more and more. So, can you apologize? The other party was so polite, and Will didn't want to be rough. Apologize? The dancing arms of the 100-handed ghosts stopped, and their bodies stiffened, as if they had been hit by a hold spell. You hurt my compatriots and classmates. Since you didn't kill her or leave her permanently disabled, as long as you apologize to her and get her forgiveness, then I can let you live. Will is a man of reason. The other party did not kill, but did not maim. As long as you sincerely apologize and accept punishment, you won't lose your life. Not only do you need to apologize, but you must also obtain her forgiveness before you let me go? The 100-handed ghost clan seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world. Facing this big joke, Will nodded seriously. Afterwards, cut off the arm that you used to commit the crime, the arm that hurt someone just now, and swear that you will never hurt human beings again, and you will be exempted from the death penalty. Originally, for monsters like the 100-handed ghosts, they had to die. But Will has also grown a lot during the 3 years in Kawa City. Killing will not solve the problem. Reasonable things can be solved, why not? Arrogant human. The 100-handed ghosts waved their arms, and the wind howled. I originally wanted to spare your life, but now, you must die. Is this your choice? What a pity. Since the other party is unwilling to accept his reasoning, they can only resort to violence. A law without the guarantee of a violent institution will not be able to deter criminals and protect the people, and the white light on Will's body was shining, and there was a crackling sound. I have already decided to fight to protect justice. Will's figure suddenly rose. From a little fresh meat with fair skin around 1.7 meters. He became a muscular man with a height of 1.9 meters, with muscles all over his body, supporting the white apprentice's black robe. Tisk tisk, this is the rumored, strange magical technique that can make the body bigger, escaped from Edane's hands? The moment the words just fell, the 100-handed ghost moved. When he was fighting with the little girl before, his body, which seemed extremely large and bulky, was so sensitive at this moment. The hundreds of arms on his body stretched and danced like whips, making crackling sounds. The thick black arms covered Will's whole body, leaving no room for him to hide. Under the offensive of the arm, Will could only resist with all his strength with his sword. Under his master-level swordsmanship defense, and with the assistance of spiritual skill perception and spirit movement, all attacks were blocked by him one by one. The body is gradually getting closer to the body of the 100-handed ghost clan. It's no wonder that I can survive in the hands of Edane. I still have some skills. The tone of the 100-handed ghosts was serious. Don't think that if you know some breathing techniques and some strange magic skills, you can fight in front of me. Madness! Caw caw caw! Will was surprised to find that his sword had started to crumble. The blade was actually full of cracks. It won't be long before the sword in his hand will be completely shattered into pieces. Is it a special effect attack? Will stared at the palm of the hundred-handed ghost. It can be clearly seen that the palm of the hand is covered with a layer of black inconspicuous light. The holy sword Lionheart Roar is really good. It can display all my strength. Unfortunately, it has not been strengthened by enchantment, so I can't defend against special effects attacks. The ability to face monsters will be broken all at once. The sword of the level of the holy sword Lionheart Roar is only a few dozen intermediate magic stones in the academy. It's just that after all, it's the sword that I've followed for 3 years, and it's so broken, I'm still a little sad. Should be serious. The temptation is over, and the strength and ability of the hundred-handed ghost clan are known. It's time to end the fight. If the battle dragged on for a long time, it would not be a good idea to startle other monsters or attract other dangers. Moreover, the abilities of the hundred-handed ghosts are quite strange and powerful. Without weapons, the physical strength and danger required to end the battle will increase greatly. Repent for your sinful life. The sword in Will's hand accelerated sharply. All the way, he rushed to the front of the hundred-handed ghost clan. All the arms blocking the front were cut off by his sword. It's so possible, why do you have such great power? The hundred-handed ghosts backed away in horror, wanting to escape. Launch cloud step. Will leaned forward, enveloped his surroundings, covered with black light arms. Fire cut. Tear. The arm was cut off at once. The pitch-black arm fell to the ground, wriggling helplessly. Dark red blood flowed from the wound, corroding the ground, making a sizzling sound, and exuding an unpleasant stench. It's time to end. The strength of the hundred-handed ghost clan is comparable to that of the second-order third-class apprentices. He only uses the flashing mode, and when he is not using night martial arts, the hundred-handed ghosts can suppress him a little bit with their strange abilities. Once he uses night martial arts, the speed, attack, and defense will increase dramatically, and the hundred-handed ghosts are not enough in front of him. You can't kill me, do you want to offend the hundred-handed ghost clan? Will was expressionless, constantly slashing the enemy's arms. You have already offended the snake people. If you are offending us, you will not be able to survive in the wizarding world. Will slashed at its huge body with a sword, creating a hideous wound as deep as 1 meter. As long as you let me go, I'm willing to mediate for you and help you intercede with the snake people. Will sliced the hundred-handed ghosts into pieces like slicing. Will, we won't let you go. The voices of the hundred-handed ghosts stopped abruptly. It takes a lot of work to kill a guy with a huge body and tenacious vitality. Chapter 234. He stared at the remains of the hundred-handed ghosts that had fallen to the ground. Corrosive dark red blood flowed on the ground, making a hissing sound. Will glanced around, but saw no danger. It must be done as soon as possible. It is not surprising when a powerful monster rushes out of the Intis forest. He still remembers that when he was still young, he leisurely dealt with dead enemies in the dangerous forest, and finally met the monster four-armed ghost ape. Almost died. It also caused a great loss to the family's strength. Same mistake, I don't want to make it again. After disposing of the remains of the hundred-handed ghosts, they took a bottle of blood and went back to study it. After that, take the little girl back to the carriage of the convoy. The people in the team did not notice Will's departure and return. The battle between him and the hundred-handed ghost clan ended quickly, without causing much commotion. A few days later, when other hundred-handed ghosts find the remains of their compatriots, they probably won't guess that I did it. Even if you guessed it, it's okay. The high-level people generally don't pay too much attention to the petty fights between wizard apprentices and lower-level monsters. Focus on the girl who just came down. The girl drank his potion, and her injuries were almost healed. The hundred-handed ghosts did not kill, and the battle was mainly for fun. After that, I planned to bring the girl back to the lair to play. So the girl just suffered from excessive physical exertion and suffered a little skin trauma. After drinking the potion, the injury would heal within a few hours, so it was not a problem. I just don't know if my spirit has been hit. After arranging the girl as comfortably as possible in the carriage, Will closed his eyes and continued to practice meditation. Late at night, there was a movement in the carriage. It was the painful raving of the girl in her sleep. The girl woke up from her sleep and looked around with confused eyes. She was found locked in a black cage with her clothes changed and her body wiped down. Not far in front of him, there is still a shadow that exudes an ominous atmosphere sitting cross-legged. I was defeated by a monster with arms all over its body. It said it would take me to its lair and torture me, the girl recalled, so this is it. The girl who came to her senses immediately trembled. Thinking of the cruel criminal law she was about to face, she couldn't help screaming. Just the mouth just opened. The depths of the throat are blocked by something, a bit like a cold is phlegm that can't be swallowed and can't be spit out, so I can only make a low whimpering sound. Be quiet, don't disturb everyone's sleep. A voice that disseminates a cordial message that makes people can't help but trust its sounds. The car curtain was pulled open, and the moonlight came in from the window, illuminating the small space. Only then did she notice that this was not a cage, but a carriage. The guy sitting cross-legged in the carriage was about his own age, wearing a black robe, combing his hair meticulously, with an affectionate smile on his face. He looked like a young master who hadn't experienced much in the world. Think of yourself and a man deep in a small space. The clothes on his body were changed again, and his body was obviously washed. So is it him? The girl's face turned red all of a sudden. She grew up so big, since she was sensible, she hasn't let other men see her body yet. However, the blush on the cheeks only appeared for a moment. Now is not the time to be entangled in this kind of love for children. Did you save me? Where's that disgusting big monster? The girl looked at Will. Will looked no different from the noble young masters she knew. Maybe he has practiced breathing techniques, maybe he has good talent. But absolutely not through the baptism of life and death. She has seen a lot of guys like this. Even in the same realm, she can fight 3 with 1. But that's impossible. Could this boy, who might be younger than her, be the peak knight? Can the strength be compared with her? Maybe it was the guards of this noble young master who saved me? If so, then this young master's family rank is at least at the earl level. The girl got up and straightened her appearance, and sat cross-legged facing Will. With a sincere expression on his face, he said, I am Elaine Caffrey, thank you for saving my life. Elaine bowed her head in thanks to Will. Will stared blankly at Elaine's eyes. Sure enough, is he like this too? Elaine smiled self-deprecatingly, will he regret saving me? Saving a monster like me? Elaine's pupils are different from ordinary people. Before, because of the darkness, he and the girl had been fighting the 100-handed ghosts, and Will couldn't see it clearly, thinking that the girl's pupils were silver. Although silver pupils are rare, it is not a surprising thing. However, if you take a closer look now, it's not silver. It's straight without pupils. In Yilian's eyes, like a sea of stars, countless silver-white light spots floated and scattered. Like the Milky Way. So mysterious, so beautiful, fascinating. Is that your demon seed? Will asked. Hey? Elaine just looked sad on her own, and didn't answer Will's question. This power fits your body very well, there is no rejection, and there are no lines on your body that should be there when drinking the black stock solution, so you are a bloodline? Will asked in surprise. Elaine still didn't respond. It's really strange that the body of the bloodlines can also undergo such a change. Could it be that the bloodline's runaway corresponds to the monster's runaway? Haven't heard of it. Will pulled Elaine closer to him and watched Elaine's eyes carefully. Yilian's cheeks were flushed. What does this man want to do? Pull me into his arms? Don't think that you can play with my body at will after saving me. Wanting to resist, trying to push the frivolous man away, glaring at him fiercely and scolding him angrily. But I don't know why, my body is limp and I can't exert myself. My body is all right? Is it because I was injured secretly in the previous battle with the monster? Especially when she heard Will's words, it's so beautiful, like the Milky Way, her cheeks became more rosy, and her little heart also thumped and beat faster. What does it feel like? Why is my heart beating so fast? This feeling of being hot and unable to exert energy is very similar to what they said. She remembered what her friends, relatives, gossip grandma said. Could this be what they said? Love, love, love. Thinking about it, Elaine's head was steaming. Noticing the strange behavior of the girl named Elaine, Will quickly let go of the girl and lifted the mental power that restricted the girl's actions. Sorry, I was too excited. Will apologized to the girl. Elaine stayed in Will's arms for a while before realizing that her body could move. Like a cat whose tail has been stepped on, it jumped and ran to the corner of the carriage. I'm not tempted, Don't think that if you save my life, I will fall in love with you. Elaine hid in the corner of the carriage and secretly glanced at Will, talking nonsense. What's the matter with you? Will scratched his head depressed. A woman's needle in the bottom of her heart is really not just talking. It made him want to use his mind-reading ability. What's going on? Elaine jumped up, like an irritated little cat. Isn't it because you hugged me, talked to me, and praised my beautiful eyes? Your eyes are really beautiful, aren't they? Humph, don't think I'll forgive you for your offense just now. Elaine raised her haughty chin, not wanting Will to see her flushed cheeks. Chapter 235. What kind of nonsense are you talking about? Will found that the conversation between the two of them was wrong. At first, I saw that she had good cultivation, rich combat experience, and good spear skills. In the end, she performed well when faced with a desperate situation. I thought that the impact on her spirit would be much less. Is it really just a teenage girl? So he decided to get straight to the point. After using a little psychological inducement and mental confusion, the relationship between him and Elaine has been shortened a lot. Elaine seemed less defensive about him. It's just that for some reason, Elaine seems to be coy all the time. Elaine kept saying words of unknown meaning. Will decided to ignore it. Are you still a first-class apprentice? Are you a first-year student? Why did you go deep into the Intis forest alone? Didn't you form a team with other people when you did the task? Elaine was at a loss for Will's series of questions. Will noticed something was wrong. So he asked a few more common-sense questions about the wizarding world, but Elaine's expression was still blank. He found out what the problem was. He looked at Elaine in surprise, and asked, "Are you a student of Jello Potion Academy? What college? You're a first-class wizard's apprentice, aren't you?" "You are only a first class, you are only an apprentice, I am the peak knight, and my combat power is comparable to that of a great knight, don't underestimate me." Elaine expressed her anger at Will's underestimation of her. "You should know about bloodlines, right? Blood people? Do you mean those guys with all kinds of strange abilities?" Will couldn't help but touch his forehead. He finally knew what the strange feeling he had been feeling all this time was all about. Elaine was not a student of Zero Potions Academy at all. More than not. You really don't know anything about the wizarding world. Like a blank sheet of paper, just like him when he was 15 years old, when he didn't meet Rip. I thought the knight was the strongest in this world. The big knight can walk sideways. The little girl who accidentally awakened her blood and came to the Intis forest for adventure? At a young age, he has the strength comparable to the peak of a great knight, and it is impossible not to inflate his self-confidence. Young people always want to take risks. Meet strange worlds you haven't seen before. If he hadn't met Rep and stepped into the wizarding world, he might have followed the same path as Elaine. When he became a great knight and had children and left offspring, he would venture around. In the end, maybe because of my own arrogance, I will die in the hands of some powerful monster. Intis forest is dangerous, it's not the place you should come. Will could only persuade him in this way. I have a reason to come, In the middle of speaking, Elaine stopped suddenly, as if it was a secret that could not be uttered. Reason? Can you tell me? No. Elaine shook her head resolutely, that's not the world you should step into. Elaine looked out the window with vicissitudes in her eyes. She carries burdens that she shouldn't have to bear at her age. Cut, why are you pretending to be a wolf with a big tail? You don't even know the world of wizards, how big a secret can you have? You don't want to implicate me? The world? Could it be that there is a world of vindictiveness and magic? Although I thought so in my heart, I couldn't say it out loud. I can only guide slowly to gain Elaine's trust. Actually, I'm the same kind of person as you. Will pointed to his left eye, my eyes are similar to your pupils, and they both have strange powers. Real? Elaine rushed to Will's body all of a sudden, and carefully looked at Will's left eye. I thought it was a different pupil, so it wasn't it. Observing carefully, Elaine found that the golden pupil of Will's left eye was flowing with a powerful force that made her afraid. If you came to the forest of Intis to find something, I might know. Will said as he brushed Elaine's hair from his face. You. Elaine distanced herself from Will suddenly. Why are you so surprised? I want you to manage. Will shook his head and didn't want to say anything more. It is normal for a girl in puberty to make some incomprehensible actions after being strongly stimulated. Then, can you tell me your purpose in coming to Intis forest? Elaine thought for a while, and then seemed to have made a major decision. Nod. His eyes are also different from ordinary people. Maybe he really knows that his subordinates can defeat that powerful monster. So, under Elaine's explanation, all kinds of doubts in Elaine's body were solved one by one. Elaine Caffrey was from a Viscount family in the Byago province of the Cairo Empire. Although the Caffrey family is a Viscount family, the family is extremely poor. There are only 5 knights, and there is no baron under him. The strength of the family is also very weak, only the patriarch is a knight. The strength of the family is so weak, and the territory is so small, the reason why they can still maintain the title of Viscount is that they live more comfortably than most barons. It was because the ancestors of the Caffrey family had made great contributions to the Cairo Empire. The title of Viscount is promulgated by the king himself. Unless the king personally ordered the deprivation, the title would not be taken away. As long as they behave themselves, other families will not target them. Therefore, no matter how weak the family members are, the Viscount's basic standard of living can still be maintained. Elaine was born into such a family. Since childhood, Yilian has been disinterested in etiquette and housework. She likes swordsmanship, likes to practice breathing, and she wants to be a knight. For her thoughts and actions. At first, the family refused. Until she showed her incomparable breathing talent. But at the age of 12, she was already a reserve knight. With this talent, as long as she grows up, it is not impossible to become a great knight. At the age of 13, Elaine, who felt that she could not break through, asked her parents to go out for actual combat training. Want to stimulate vitality between life and death, and become a quasi-knight. This is the conclusion she reached after asking all the quasi-knights and knights she could come into contact with. It is impossible for people who have never fought, killed, or wandered between life and death to stimulate their vitality. But her parents refused because she was still young. Although she repeatedly asked, but still to no avail. So she sneaked out of the castle and ventured into the forest where rumors of monsters gathered. I want to break through myself in actual combat. She did run into danger. She also successfully stimulated her vitality and became a quasi-knight. But she wasn't happy at all. Her parents, relatives, and family members only blamed her angrily. Because her eyes were poisoned. The toxin penetrated into the brain along the eyes and affected her entire body. Not only did he lose his eyesight, but his physical fitness was also greatly reduced, and his strength was not even as good as that of ordinary people. I went to many doctors and tried many medicines, but I came to only one conclusion, that is, it can't be cured, and it will be like this all my life. Chapter 236. Knowing that Elaine's poison could not be removed, the Kavli family, who had already become useless, plummeted in their attitude towards her. She has changed from a much anticipated star, the hope of the family's rise, to an ordinary girl, a burden. If she had never been brilliant, the family would never have expected her. If she was born blind, a weak body, the family will pity her and take pity on her. He will raise her up and let her marry a good husband. But not. She had shown amazing talent before, which was the talent that could make the family rise, lead the family forward, and restore the glory that the Viscount should have. It was destroyed. Ruined by her willfulness. How can the family not be angry? Although he didn't target her publicly, the ubiquitous indifference and whispered slander deeply hurt her heart. Those people who once looked up at her with adoring eyes, took out gifts she liked to please her, and asked her about breathing techniques shyly all disappeared. They all looked at her with contemptuous eyes and mocked her. Even the attitude of her beloved parents changed greatly. Her father became irritable and frequently scolded her loudly. There were times when my father got angry outside and picked up a wooden stick angrily. If it wasn't for the mother protecting her and pleading with her father, she would definitely have been severely beaten. Thankfully, her mother still loves her. But since she became blind and weak, the mother's character has also changed greatly. The originally gentle, kind, and laughing mother shed tears every day in a place she couldn't see. If it wasn't for others telling her unintentionally when they mocked her, she wouldn't know that the seemingly strong mother who taught her to face the future with a smile and always encouraged her would shed tears for her every day. Anger. Despair. Unwilling. Not because of the family's abandonment, not because of the ridicule of the people, just because I don't want to see my mother cry. She wants to become stronger. Become more powerful, strong enough to protect the mother, let the mother be proud of herself. So, she continued to practice. Practice harder. The level of breathing method is constantly improving, and the control of life force is more proficient. But overwork makes the body weaker. The toxin, which had stopped spreading, acted again. At 14, she became a knight. As for the body, even walking is difficult. Lying on the sickbed, toxins eroded the whole body from the eyes. The pharmacist said that if she rests well in the future, after taking medicine for a year or two, she should be able to get out of bed and walk. Humph, I don't believe it. In less than 3 months, she was able to get out of bed and walk. That night, she dragged her frail body and staggered towards her parents' room. She wants to surprise her mother. She can walk. Standing outside the door, listening to the noise of her father and mother inside, she froze. It's not an option for Elaine to go on like this. It was my father's voice. Fortunately, she still has a good appearance. Let's marry a smart and sensible honest countryman. Marrying her out was a joint decision made by the father and the family. Although the mother pleaded bitterly, saying that Elaine is still young and weak, she should find a nobleman who is worthy of Elaine. But it didn't work. She went back to her room silently. Dragging his body on the verge of collapse, he continued to practice breathing. 10 days later, she passed out. However, even in a coma, she wasn't completely unconscious. She could feel the disgust in her father's eyes, the look on her face that the clansmen wished for her death, and someone even sneaked into the ward secretly, trying to strangle her to death. If her mother hadn't found out in time, she would have died. And the person who wanted to strangle her was only reprimanded, without any substantial punishment. She is still struggling, and suffering. She wanted to die, but she didn't want to make her mother suffer. Finally, after a full month of coma, she woke up. For some unknown reason, the toxins in the body disappeared. The scenery in the eyes is so clear. The body is full of strength. Physical fitness has been greatly improved. And her pupils also disappeared, and became composed of dots of silver light. The strength she showed made her the strongest in several nearby territories in one fell swoop. She took action to defeat the several forces that coveted the Caffley family and hindered the rise of the Caffley family, and brought the power of the family to a higher level. But what he got was a look like a monster. Even when her mother looked into her eyes, there was deep fear that couldn't be concealed. At the age of 15, she left the family, wandering and adventuring. I want to find someone like her. By chance again, she learned that the Intis forest might have the answer she wanted to know. Did you awaken your thin blood during the torture of life and death? Will sighed. What happened to Elaine? Elaine's strength and Elaine's actions all made him fascinated and appreciated. Mainly, Elaine's experience reminded him of himself. How like she was when I was young. If it wasn't for the fact that Elaine didn't look like her, his daughter was too young to be so old, and Will would have wondered if Elaine was his daughter. So you came to Intis Forest to enter the Zero Potion Academy? Will asked. What is Zero Potion Academy? Elaine asked puzzled. Will was the first person she opened up to after she was poisoned. Although they had only met each other not long ago, Will was already the person she trusted the most. It seems that you really don't know anything. Regarding Elaine's recklessness, Will didn't know what to say. If she hadn't met him, Elaine would have died in Intis Forest. Even if you survived by luck, it is impossible to enter the academy without any connections. Back then, if it wasn't for Rep who led him to know the wizarding world. Fern Furlong's strong recommendation and help allowed him to successfully enter the Jello School of Potions. Then he either ventures around as a pure knight, or die in an unknown corner. You really look like me. Will decided to help Elaine. Do you know about exercise and meditation? Shake your head. How many languages do you know? At least the lingua franca of the 3 countries, right? Shake your head. Do you have magic stones on you? What can you exchange for magic stones? Shake your head. Will calmed down one by one, and Elaine shook her head in all responses. It's really ignorant, like a blank sheet of paper. Will couldn't help but sigh in his heart. It turns out that people can be so ignorant. But wasn't he the same before? In the past, I couldn't tell the difference between monsters and beasts, and I didn't know the body training methods and meditation methods that still existed. I didn't know what the magic power of demon seeds was. Didn't I also come from ignorance, step by step? Looking at Elaine, he seemed to see himself in the past. Since I met you, I will definitely not ignore you. Hey? Elaine looked at Will with a serious face in confusion. I have hands and feet, why do I need your care? Then, let's start with what a wizard is. Hey, don't talk about yourself. Do you know what a wizard is? The old man and old woman who has many strange abilities in fairy tales and can refine all kinds of magical potions? Chapter 237. Until dawn, Will explained all kinds of things about wizards to Elaine. Elaine looked at the Welsh in a daze, as if looking at a lunatic. Elaine probably didn't believe what Will said. At this stage, Will doesn't have any extra time to explain, so he can only carry out cramming education. He didn't want to do this either. He also wanted to take a step forward and explain something, and slowly teach Elaine, but Elaine's knowledge about wizards was too little. Even the basic common sense of many wizarding worlds is unknown. Morning comes. The warm morning light accompanies the sun rising from the east, driving away the darkness and illuminating the world. Looking at the drowsy Elaine, Will sighed. I don't know how much I taught you last night, how much I remembered. After putting Elaine, who was tired all night, to sleep, Will leaned against the window, thinking about how to help Elaine. It's not yet the time to enroll, so it may be a little troublesome. But only a little bit. The entry threshold for Jello Potion Academy is actually very low. As long as you have some connections and are willing to pay a little magic stone, you can easily enroll. From this, it can be seen how shallow Fern Furlong's connections in the wizarding world are. It was just a small matter of letting him join the academy, but it had gone through so many twists and turns. The convoy arrives at the grounds of the college. Take Elaine out of the carriage. I didn't expect such a building to exist in the Intis forest. Elaine exclaimed. After instructing the person in charge of the convoy to put his goods in the designated place, Will took Elaine and entered the Jello School of Potions. What is that door? Where is this? Is it really underground? Elaine began to believe what Will said last night. Will explained while leading the way for Elaine. Along the way, I saw many apprentice wizards. Many of them were unfamiliar faces. It's only been 3 years since I left, so many familiar people have disappeared. For him, this might be a good thing. Fewer people know him, fewer remember what he did, and resent him. Paying the price of 10 low-level magic stones, I did an entrance test for Elaine. Bloodline ability development, low-level first-class apprentices, body training methods, no entry, spiritual power, no entry, even the spiritual space has not been opened. Seeing Elaine's unsightly grades, Will couldn't help but sigh. It's not Elaine's fault. She has never modified the body training method and meditation method, and she didn't know the existence of the wizarding world before, so she was expected to have such a result. You are a bloodline awakener, you can learn to become stronger slowly, don't worry. Will comforted Elaine and said, you should first practice meditation and learn language and writing. The communication in the academy is in common language, and books are also in common language. Written in language. There is also the body training method that will affect the progress of the breathing method. You don't need to rush to practice, and you can think about it after you become a great knight. This is the benefit of the bloodline awakener. There is no need to race against time to become stronger like a demon seed transplanter. Will, are you a wizard apprentice who transplanted demon seeds? Is it okay to live at 30 years? Elaine stared nervously at Will. It's okay, I'm steady. Will said confidently. That's right, you're only 16 or 17 years old, and you're already at the peak of a second-class apprentice, and there are still more than 10 years left. Elaine had a preliminary understanding of the classification of wizards. I'm not 16 or 17, I'm much older than you. Will said with a dark face. Hey? Are you 18 years old? Older than me? Should I call you brother? Elaine looked at Will in surprise. I'm 23 this year. Will emphasized. No way. Elaine covered her mouth in disbelief and looked at Will carefully. No matter how you look at it, Will is a noble young master who looks about the same age as her. Here we are. Will stopped walking. You're going to meet your mentor later, be nice and make a good impression on him. Elaine's mentor was not arranged by the academy. Will found it himself. Because it is not the admission season, it is impossible for the college to arrange a tutor for you. And without a mentor, it is not counted as enrollment and cannot remain in the academy. So you can only find a tutor yourself. It doesn't matter, people still don't want to accept you. What are the benefits of tutors accepting students? The answer is no. What are the benefits of a tutor teaching a course? Nor. There are about 10 low-level magic stones per class. Those who can become mentors in the academy are either third-class apprentices, either a knowledgeable bloodline, who can appreciate your magic stone. If it weren't for signing an agreement with the academy, they wouldn't be bothered to attend classes. Tuk tuk tuk. The heavy iron door opened, and a muscular man in a tight black vest pushed the door open. Will? The man smiled in surprise when he saw Will, and gave Will a bear hug. Monty, long time no see. The man Will came to look for was Monty, the person who led him the way back then. He is also one of the people with the best relationship with him in the academy. He was also looking for a mentor for Elaine not long ago, and when he checked the list of the academy's mentors, he accidentally found out that Monty had become a third-class apprentice. I just went out to do a mission during that time, so I couldn't give you a ride. About Yoren and the others, sorry. It wasn't Will who apologized, it was Monty. Because Monty knew that the reason Will encountered this kind of thing was because of Yoren. If Yoren hadn't invited Will, it would have been impossible for Will to participate in the mission, and Will would not have fallen into Franro's tricks, causing Will to offend the snake people and be sent to the station for 3 years. The reason why Will knew Yoren was because of his introduction. It's not your fault. How could Will blame Monty? Won't you invite me in and sit down? Monty immediately opened the door. Come in, who else is this? She is someone who accidentally awakened her bloodline and wanted to enter the academy that I met on the way back. After sitting down, Will immediately stated his reason for coming. Monty has become a third-class apprentice. After becoming a third-class apprentice, there are generally 3 options. The first is to leave the academy, take risks everywhere, and do what you want to do to your heart's content. Generally, such people will call themselves demon hunters. The second is to join the country and do things for the country. The last one is to stay in the academy, become a mentor, and serve the academy. Different options have different benefits and also have different limitations. How to choose is up to you. After Monty became a third-class apprentice, he chose to stay in the academy and become a mentor. Take her as a student? No problem. Monty agreed very simply. Then, are you okay? After leaving the academy for 3 years, even if you have amazing talent and want to become a third-class apprentice? Monty looked at Will with concern. If you need help, you can come to me at any time. Haha, don't worry, I'm fine. Will pointed to his left eye. You don't need to wear blindfolds anymore? Are you a second-class apprentice peak? Monty's eyes widened. Because since we met, Will has acted too normally. And Monty firmly believed that Will could not be the pinnacle second-class apprentice, so he selectively ignored the fact that Will was not wearing a blindfold. Is it the magic stone obtained in that mission? Francois is still very generous. Monty stopped suddenly. We need to celebrate this event. Are you free tonight? I invite you to have a big meal. Being respectful is worse than obedience. Will smiled, and took out a small box. This is a gift from me to your advanced third-class apprentice. It's a door-to-door gift, really. With that in his mouth, Monty opened the box happily. He didn't expect Will to give him such a high-end gift either. After all, Will is only a second-class apprentice, and he has stayed in the station for 3 years. How precious can he have? Chapter 238. In the box is a secondary potion, healing potion. Healing potions are only sold in the market for dozens of mid-level magic stones, so they are not very precious. At this stage, the only thing Will can do is potions. There are many precious things on him, but none of them can be easily known to others. Like the rarest and most valuable core of a giant tree, it must not be given away as a gift, right? There are also knowledge such as spiritual skills, magic skills, spells, breathing techniques, and night martial arts in his mind. It will not be too late to find opportunities to teach Monty in the future. Therefore, he chose to send potions. It is also the most widely used and relatively expensive healing potion among potions. You just came back from the station. Advanced third-class apprentices urgently need a lot of magic stones. You should exchange this bottle of healing potion for magic stones. Monty closed the box and handed it back to Will. How can I take back the gift I sent? Will refused. When you become a third-class apprentice one day, you gave me thousands of bottles of potion, and I took it without blinking an eye, but it's not the time yet. Don't let your future be affected by a moment of anger. Monty explained. Don't worry, the place I'm going to is Kava City, where there are a lot of raw materials for refining potions. I still have dozens of bottles of potions like this. Will said with a smile. That's it. Monty nodded slightly, understanding the meaning behind Will's words. In the academy, Monty is the person he has the best relationship with. He was sent out for 3 years, and everyone thought he had lost the opportunity to advance to a third-class apprentice. Monty is no exception. Will did this, so to speak, to reassure Monty. He wanted to let Monty know that now that his cultivation had reached the peak of a second-class apprentice, after exchanging the potion, there would be enough magic stones for advancement. Let Monty not worry unnecessarily. And Monty also understood what Will wanted to express. Looking at Monty's heartfelt smile for him, Will felt a warmth in his heart. Monty really regards me as a good friend. It's a pity that although Will also has a good impression of Monty, he is still far from a true friend. Progress together, move forward together, support each other, share secrets, true friends should do this. His request is not so much a request for a friend, as it is a search for a confidant. There are too many secrets in me, so I can't easily communicate with others. After staying at Monty for a while, Will took Elaine and left. I took Elaine to familiarize myself with the distribution of the college and the things to pay attention to, and bought some basic books for her. Come to the accommodation area. This is your dormitory. Taking Elaine to the assigned dormitory, I live in C06, you can come to me later if you need anything. Well, thank you. Elaine was wearing a black apprentice robe, holding 10 books in her hands, her expression froze. It looks silly, but it's cute. I have experienced a lot of things today. The worldview has been refreshed again and again. It is normal to feel tired and unable to function in the head. Will rubbed Elaine's head and comforted him, sleep well, and you'll be better tomorrow. Watching Elaine enter the room. Crunch. The door is closed. I hope she can adapt quickly. Even if he is a time traveler, he has experienced the era of information explosion. When he knew that there were such things as wizards back then, he was also taken aback. Then little by little, uncover the wizard's veil. However, on the first day when he came to Jalo Potion Academy, he was still shocked by various mysterious scenes in the academy. Even he is like this, let alone Elaine? In her life before today, Elaine had never come into contact with or understood wizards. In one day, the worldview has undergone earth-shaking changes. If the will is slightly weak, mental problems are mild, and they may go crazy. Although he was worried about Elaine, he didn't have that much time to spend on Elaine. After all, he and Elaine had only known each other for a day. Elaine's experience resonated with him. Elaine is a beautiful girl. Elaine has a crush on him. This is the world of wizards, a world where power comes first and interests come first. I have already done what I can. The master leads the door, and the practice is up to the individual. How far she can go in the future depends on herself. Gone. Will has no special feelings for Elaine. Just out of kindness, I helped a lost lamb. And never wanted anything in return from Elaine. After dealing with Elaine's matter, Will immediately took the goods brought back from Kava City and rushed to the trading area. He wanted to sell the raw materials he had collected over the past 3 years and part of the potion he refined in exchange for magic stones. He brought back a lot of raw materials, and there were 3 big carts. There are also hundreds of bottles of secondary potions refined. But it doesn't matter, even if his things are dozens or hundreds of times more, the Academy will accept them. The Academy never takes too much raw materials and potions too seriously. Especially potions, if you sell thousands of bottles, the Academy will buy them as usual, and they will pay for them and deliver them without any delay. This is because potions are not only used by the Academy itself, but also given to kingdoms, nobles, and armies all over the world, which is impossible to use. In this world, there are too few wizards. There are even fewer wizards who can refine potions. Every year, there are only a few dozen new students at the Jalo Potion Academy. Among them, there are no more than 10 bloodlines per year. And 99% of those who have free time to study potions are bloodlines. But not every bloodline person is interested in potions. Like before, he was in the same grade as him, and the tutor was Tina Kirk from Vaultley. The talent, family, blood, and teachers are all so good. It is easy to become a potion master, but they just don't want to do it, because they are not interested in potion science. Of course, people like Tina are in the minority after all. Most people want to learn potions. Except for a small number who are really interested in potions, most of them are for money. It's a pity if your mentor is not a voluntary mentor. It takes too much time and magic stones to learn potions on your own, and even those whose family background is not rich enough can't afford it. Besides, learning potion science also requires talent. Those with less talent, who can't even make ordinary potions, still want to refine potions? Therefore, there are no more than 15 people in the academy who can refine ordinary secondary potions. There are only 3 people who can refine high-level and secondary potions, including teacher Vertelli. Will's current level of potion science is not yet able to refine high-level secondary potions. Except that potion masters are too rare. Whether people are willing to sell the potion is also a question. Potions can be used for many purposes, including gifts, storage, and personal use. In addition, potions have a long shelf life, and they can be stored for decades with ease. Therefore, if there is no shortage of magic stones, it is better not to sell the potion lightly. Sell the potions and materials, and receive the rewards accumulated over the 3 years of resident missions, a total of 57 high-level magic stones, a huge sum of money. He has other uses for the core of the giant tree, so he doesn't plan to sell it. With this magic stone, there should be no problem in advancing to third-class apprentices. However, there was always an ominous premonition in his heart. His path to becoming a third-class apprentice will definitely not be smooth. His eyes looked towards the depths of the academy, which is one of the most mysterious, dangerous, and safest places in the academy. It's time to meet teacher Vertelli. Chapter 239. Will stood in front of the ancient and majestic bronze giant gate. After a long absence of 3 years, I am standing here again. Pull up the heavy hoop. Bang! The low knock on the door spread around, shaking his heart. Suddenly, the iron hoop moved as if it had life, and turned into a black coil around his arm holding the iron hoop. After a light bite on his arm, the body reverted to an iron ring. At this time, the door creaked and opened a gap just enough for one person to enter into the room. Behind him, the door closed with a bang. Walking along the avenue, huge shelves stand on both sides of the road. The shelves are full of all kinds of things. There are biological offal, various ores, fresh plants, and it's different from when I first came here 4 years ago. He knew many things on the shelf. But there is still a large part that is not understood. Go to the end of the room. Behind a table full of documents and materials, sat a witch in a black robe and a pointed wizard hat, as beautiful as a fairy tale. Mentor Vertelli's appearance is the same as it was 3 years ago, without any change. Still so beautiful and alluring. Time has not left a trace on Vertelli's mentor. Will is about the same. He has practiced the health regimen to a very high level, and he also has the ability to delay aging. Mentor Will and Vertelli, just like when the two of them first met, their appearance and figure have not changed much. However, it has been 4 years since they first met. It has been 3 years since they last met. Teacher, I'm back. Will respectfully greeted teacher Valtteri. Mentor Vertelli gave Will a slightly surprised look. The progress of Will's cultivation base cannot be hidden from the eyes of official wizards at all. The peak of the second-class apprentice? The spiritual power of the third-class apprentice? The control of magic power and spiritual power has greatly improved, and the vigorous and active vitality? Is it a paladin? Instructor Vertelli nodded slightly. It seems you haven't wasted these 3 years. Then, no more. As an official wizard, all she cares about is the progress of the wizard's cultivation. Paladins are formidable, but their fighting power is just that. Being a paladin is probably a bit of an adventure. But if there is no adventure, with Will's talent she knows, can she get to this point? Everyone has their own encounters, and Will didn't show anything beyond her understanding, and she wouldn't covet something from a second-class apprentice. Teacher Valtteri buried her head in the documents on the desktop again, leaving Will aside. Whether it's the pinnacle of a second-class apprentice, or a third-class apprentice's mental strength, or a paladin, it's something that can make people's jaws drop. However, in the eyes of Vertelli, Will is just a slightly talented wizard apprentice. It's not worthy of her attention. Yes, just slightly better talent. The wizarding world has never been short of talent. Speaking of talent, Susha, and Franro, who explored Mulan Black Castle with him 2 years ago, are the real geniuses. He was about the same age as him, but he was already a third-class apprentice. Especially Susha, who not only became a third-class apprentice, but also went a long way among the third-class apprentices. If it wasn't Franro who fought him back then, but Susha. Given his physical condition at the time, even escaping for his life was a problem. And even such a talented Susha is far from being the strongest in terms of talent, and can only be said to be the more talented group. So Will's current progress in cultivation just surprised Vertali a little bit, that's all. Of course, that's because teacher Valtteri can only see the surface. Even a formal wizard has a limit to his abilities. If Mentor Vertali knew that several of his spiritual skills had reached the level of a master, he would know magic skills, speed up his thinking, know various modes, and even know how to use magic seals. I believe that teacher Vertali is not only surprised, but must study Will from body to soul in detail. Seeing that Mentor Vertali ignored him. Knowing that his true secret has not been discovered, he is relieved at the same time. Also a little bit lost. I used to be your best assistant? I haven't seen you for 3 years. Why don't you ask me how I'm doing? Check my cultivation? Ask me if I've failed in potions? Fortunately, before he came, he had prepared various documents to answer the questions from Vertali's mentor. The results were all wasted. Adjusted the mood. After a while, Will returned to his usual calm look. He came here not just to catch up with his mentor. Take off the long strip wrapped in cloth on the back and place it in front of you. Mentor, this is something I got by accident when I was stationed. Will took out the core of the giant tree. The core of the giant tree floated up and fell into the hands of teacher Vertali. Untie the cloth, revealing the dark grey roots inside. The core of the giant tree? The slender 5 fingers of teacher Vertali's left hand lightly brushed over the core of the giant tree, as if playing a piano, elegant and beautiful. The core of the entire giant tree exudes emerald green light, full of vigor and vitality. Did you get it from Murin Black Castle? Instructor Vertali asked. Yes. Mentor Vertali really knew about the existence of Murin Black Castle. But does she know about the existence of the Demon King in Murin Black Castle? And the news that the devil may have come out? Will secretly looked at the face of Valtteri's tutor. It was still as calm as usual, and there was no change. Teacher Vertali threw the core of the giant tree upwards, and the core of the giant tree floated to the shelf in the room. The core of the giant tree worth thousands of high-level magic stones did not change the expression of teacher Vertali. Things that are extremely precious to apprentices like Will are just ordinary items in the eyes of formal wizards. They don't know how many times they have seen it. What do you need from me? Mentor Vertali said, looking directly at Will. The wizarding world has always been based on the principle of equivalent exchange. The core of a giant tree can be exchanged for a lot of good things for people in the apprenticeship stage. Will wants a lot. The value of the core of the giant tree can also allow him to obtain those things. But the most important thing now is the advanced third-class apprentice. Mentor, do you have any suggestions for my advanced third-class apprentice? Will looked expectantly at Instructor Vertali. You have reached the pinnacle of a second-class apprentice, and your spiritual power has also met the requirements. You also have quite profound attainments in the control of magic power and spiritual power. Vertali pointed out Will's current cultivation level. According to normal in this case, you only need to learn the advanced body training method and attack the third-class apprentice. Normal? Will was startled. You should know, right? The advanced exercise method is different from the elementary and intermediate exercise methods. There are 2 types. Of course I know that the advanced body training method is divided into the melting method and the sub-smelting method. Will has understood the basic information about upgrading to third-class apprentices. Then which one do you want to choose? Smelting method. Will said without hesitation. Chapter 240. Different advanced body forging methods correspond to different monster species. When a wizard apprentice transplants monster seeds, there are 2 situations: transplanting monster flesh and blood and transplanting monster organs. If you choose to transplant the flesh and blood of monsters, before you become a third-class apprentice and awaken your blood talent, in most cases, the monster seeds can only bring about strengthening of the body, without other special abilities. There are exceptions. Some people with excellent talents can awaken a trace of blood talent when they are at the peak of second-class apprentices. But such people are too few after all. Among the 3 mainstream monster species in the Academy, the burst bear and lazy leopard belong to the flesh and blood of monsters. The night demon eye, one of the 3 mainstream demon species, belongs to the category of monster organs. Monster organs can gain special abilities when they are first transplanted. Like Will, with eyes transplanted, he can immediately use the Eye of Reality. Some people have transplanted wings and can fly immediately. Some people will fire and mine the arm, and the arm will be able to fire and mine in no time. Correspondingly, the strengthening of the body by the monster's organs will be much weaker. And the cultivation of third-class apprentices is a process of merging demon seeds. Let the demon seed fuse with itself, become a part of its own body, and change its own blood. Practice the smelting method, and after the fusion of the devil seed disappears, merges with itself, and becomes a part of its own body. The smelting method is the choice of wizard apprentices, most of whom are monsters with flesh and blood. Refining and merging the demon species into one's own blood, what about the demon species? Nature is gone. The question is, what about the wizard apprentice who transplanted the organ of the monster? You transplanted wings. As a result, the wings can't fly? Weakened or lost wings. You have transplanted night demon eyes. As a result, the blood concentration of night demon eye became weaker? All kinds of magical abilities disappeared? Turned into an ordinary eye. You transplanted an arm that can fire. Then the arm can't be set on fire, it's just a slightly stronger, ugly arm. The strengthening of the body by the monster organs themselves is weak. After the magical ability attached to it disappears, how can it compete with the person who transplanted the flesh and blood of the monster? At this time, it is the turn of another advanced exercise method to appear: split exercise method. The refining method can fuse the monster seeds while retaining the characteristics of the monster seeds themselves, and become a third-class apprentice. Will's demon seed is the eye of truth, which is even higher than the night demon eye in terms of pure insight. It is also a good choice to choose the refining method. But he chose the smelting method. Because the smelting method can greatly strengthen the body, and can obviously enhance his combat effectiveness and survivability. And there are alternatives to the real eye. It does not improve the frontal combat capability much. Among magic skills, there are also many weakened versions of the eye of reality. For example, the eye of insight, the eye of clarity, the eye of confusion, the eye of delusion, the eye of heart, etc. Although the function of each magic skill is much weaker than that of the real eye. But if you learn a few more magic skills, you may still be slightly inferior to the eye of reality in terms of pure insight, but you can completely explode the eye of reality in terms of functionality and comprehensiveness. Learning magic skills is a very energy-consuming thing for other wizard apprentices. Think about a genius like Franro, who only knows one magic skill. Many powerful third-class apprentices will only have 2 or 3 magic skills in their lifetime. Because magic skills are not something you can learn if you want to, and you have to match your own ability. For example, the magic skill Thunder Spear, a magic skill that can fire lightning spears with astonishing power and speed. The cultivation of apprentices with the ability of thunder and lightning bloodlines is naturally more effective with half the effort. As for the others, one of your demon species is the earth exploding bear, and your bloodline talent is the protection of the earth that can strengthen strength, speed, and defense. Then learn the thunder gun. Where did the thunder and lightning release magic skills come from? If the talent is good enough, it will take dozens or even hundreds of years to increase the proficiency of magic skills to the level of a master, and perhaps be able to release lightning the level that can stun a mouse. Every magic skill is extremely profound. To be able to learn one and use it freely, it usually takes several years of dedicated research. If you want to go one step closer and reach the level of a master, you can't do it in a few decades. Will on the outside. Therefore, he chose the smelting method. Besides, it doesn't mean you have to give up the eye of truth. What if he awakens his blood talent? What if the blood talent is the eye of truth? No matter how he thought about it, the benefit of the smelting method was far greater than that of the sub-smelting method. Unfortunately, no matter the smelting method or the sub-smelting method, I'm afraid they can't meet your requirements. Vertelli said softly, staring at Will's left eye. Mentor, what do you mean? Will's expression suddenly became serious. Fusing magic seeds is actually similar to refining potions. Vertelli explained, different materials have different special effects. When processing some materials, special techniques are required to maximize the medicinal properties. Could it be that ordinary advanced body training methods are useless to me? When the potion is refined, there are only 2 or 3 main medicines that really work. The other medicines mostly serve as an auxiliary blending effect, so that the effects of the main medicine can be better integrated into one body. The more auxiliary materials there are, the more difficult it is to fuse the medicinal power of the main medicine, and the more difficult it is to refine. Weirdly explained. Would it be more difficult to fuse my demon seed with my body? It was to prevent this situation that he deliberately left the core of the giant tree for his mentor. Instructor Vertelli nodded and continued, the study of demon seeds is a very profound knowledge. The ultimate goal of demon seeds is to strengthen blood vessels. How adaptable are different blood vessels to the human body? Can they be fused with 1%? How much? Not every bloodline can be integrated into the body. Will's face became extremely ugly. He finally understood why the Academy didn't welcome people who accidentally transplanted demon seeds outside. What is the relationship between the blood of the dragon and the human body? Seeing Will's frightened expression, Instructor Vertelli smiled and comforted him, don't worry, even without my help, the ordinary practice of advanced physical training will not affect your promotion to the third-class apprentice. Then what do you mean? Will was almost confused. It's impossible to fuse the blood of the demon species completely. If it can be fully fused, what's the difference between it and a monster? Indeed it is. The advanced body training method can only fuse a small part of the blood that is relatively stable and has high adaptability to the human body. Generally, it is 20% to 30%. And you? Instructor Vertelli's voice suddenly became awe-inspiring, the blood in the demon seed is too pure. It has not been properly treated before transplantation, and the blood is too irritable. It would be good if it can be fused with 5%. Is there any problem with the low fusion rate? Will asked humbly. Only when the fusion rate is above 20% can you awaken your bloodline talent. If it's less than 10%. Instructor Willett paused. It can be strengthened by 20 to 30%, and if you practice the split method, your physique will hardly change, the real eyes of your eyes will disappear, and your eyesight will be better than ordinary eyes.